Okay, this is the September 22nd Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. And why don't we go around and introduce ourselves? This is Fred Chang. I am one of the council members.
Janine Floyd, Deputy City Clerk.
I'm Matt Murphy with the Port Orchard Chamber of Commerce.
Sheila Klein with the Arthritis Foundation Jingle Bell Run.
And Lorraine Olson with Mrs. House Bed and Breakfast.
Okay, well, let's start with our first presentation, which is from the Chamber of Commerce.
All right, so right or wrong, we submitted 3 applications for 3 different pieces. I don't know. We, if that's the way I've done it for last year and I think the year before. So I want to talk about the piece for Explore Port Orchard first. That is it's the one that looks like all the rest of them.
The Explore Port Orchard
Explore
one?
Port Orchard, yeah.
And what amount was that for?
That was for $18,995.
Okay, thank you. That's that guy downstairs, huh? So that's something roaring in the walls or...
The ghost.
And so Matt, you are like changing positions here because you're
I
a
am.
member of this group and you just now stepped out of that
Yep.
role and now you're presenting. Okay,
Yep.
just make it clear for the recording,
Yeah, thank
I
you.
think.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, so.
And me.
So, Explore Port Orchard is a conglomeration, collaboration, cooperation, gaggle of organizations here in South Kitsap in the Port Orchard area that consists of the Port Orchard Chamber of Commerce, the Sydney Arts Museum and Gallery, the Port Orchard Bay Street Association, and then the city has got a seat at the table, as well as the Port of Bremerton. So it's kind of a group that was formed a few years back to address and try to consolidate the marketing of the area. Not so much the events per se, but of the area. So what we've done, what the proposal here, actually I want to recap a little bit of 2017. And that is actually on the second page there, halfway down 4A. We've been involved in basically 2 different campaigns, an online advertising portion and a print portion. In 2017, I brought some statistics here, 2 samples of what we did as a Facebook boosts for 2 different events, and I didn't bring that one, but it was, so we spent $250 to boost the Kitsap Harbor Festival. Okay, that's Memorial Day weekend. We spent $250. We had a reach. Now, when you're looking at Facebook, you've got reaches, you've got shares, you've got engagement, you've got different definitions. We had a reach of over 8,000 people, 209 shares, and that's compared to the $500 that we ran in the Port Orchard Independent on their online advertising, their banner advertising. We had 49 hits on their banner advertising for the $500 that we spent, versus the 8,000. The engagement on Facebook was 8,000. The shares, the likes, the actual engagement, the reach is how many people see it. The engagement is how many people like it, share it, comment on it. We had 2,000 engagement and I think it was 200 shares. So the numbers were through the roof. The same thing, I spent $20 on the Lady Washington boost when they were here at the end of June. I think it was June or the end of July. We had 8,000 reach on a $20 boost. Again, it was dollar for dollar, for better or for worse. Using Facebook is an effective way of getting the word out there. Our target market for both of these campaigns, or for the Harbor Festival campaign, was it was a zip code target based upon the other side of the bridge, the Tacoma side. And our theory and the print portion that we did for the Harbor Festival, which isn't part of any of this, that's an entirely different beast, was through the local newspapers. So we figured we had that covered. We spent $250 on the Tacoma Pierce County side, and knocked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned.
Can you repeat what you said the independent cost and did?
It was $500
for their banner, their
for
online
for-
banner?
For their online banner ad, and we have 49 clicks. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's like over $10 each?
Yeah.
Huh. The, and this is good, yeah. I guess the question is, how much do likes and clicks, how do they compare in terms of action? Where do people
Well, you
show
know,
up
and well, that's the $1 million question, because when somebody clicked on our ad for on either the Independent, because we did it in the Sun also for the Sun, I don't know what group they are anymore. It went to a landing page. Okay, you know, it went to a landing page, and from there, they had an opportunity to click on the events that were happening on the Port Orchard side and events that were happening on the Bremerton side. You know, and so it was a dual. It was a landing page because the Kids Up Harbor Festival takes into consideration both sides of Sinclair Inlet. And after a rocky start, the cooperation between the Bremerton side and the Port Orchard side on the Kids Up Harbor Festival is going great. You know, personality is all aside, and that has to do with the Seagull Festival, which is another subject that's coming up here. But you know, that's what it was. If you clicked on the link in the Facebook, it took you to the landing page also. But it's the fact that, you know, when people see it, you know, because obviously on the banner ad, you know, that was just basically at the top of, and it just said, you know, this weekend or Memorial Day weekend, click here for more details. The Facebook, you could actually say more. You know, you could say, you know, come visit the vendors, come see the cool things, live music, you know, taste some chicken wings and, you know, things like that. So when people read it, you know, and share it, you know that they're truly paying attention to it. Now the reach portion, do you have a business page for you? Okay. That's okay.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet.
That's okay, because on a business page you can actually see the reach, you know, and
It
groups. Can you see it on
records it.
groups too? Can you see it on groups?
We see some stats, but not quite the same.
Yeah. So, you know, you can actually see how many people have laid eyes on it. Now that might be, you know, flying by.
Yeah, they call them insights for groups.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, we get, you know, you can see how many people specifically see it, click on it, like it, now thumbs it up, hearts it, smile it. You know, I guess those are called reactions. React to your post. You can see those statistics for
And demographics.
and well,
Right?
and part of it. So when I did, you can choose. You can specifically choose. And so, like I said, when I said I did the over the bridge, I went through it and I could literally click every zip code in Tacoma, every zip code in Fife, Federal Way, Puyallup, Lakewood. I think Lakewood is about as far south as I went. So I knew that we were paying for it to hit just those people. And I targeted, you can target it to foodies, you know, because it's the Seagull Festival and, you know, the wings but you can. I mean, you can drill it down to age, to sex. Typically, I only boost to women because, you know, it'll also translate the cost per engagement, and it's cheaper to engage a woman on Facebook than it is to engage a man. So, you know, we break it down. So,
Boy, this is way above my head.
Yeah.
But you know, listening to you talk, Matt, the purpose is for people just to look at it, whether it's written, you know, we did
Right.
newspapers or we're doing
Mhm.
brochures. So just the fact that they're paying attention to it, it doesn't really matter what they do. They're still looking
Right.
at it. So I think it all counts
it
equally
does. It does.
well. And you had mentioned that, now, I don't really understand Facebook really well, but you mentioned that you can target zip codes. You can do a
Yes.
zip code target.
Mhm. Yeah.
How do you do that? Because I thought you had to know people on Facebook to do that.
You create an ad through a page, and then it lets you set who you want your ad to be.
So it could go to anybody.
Yeah. See, for example, for you guys, if you wanted to target married couples over 55, you know, and I don't know the demographics of your lodgers, but if you knew who they were, these are the people that come and spend the most money. You could do a Facebook to you could do a boost to all of Washington State, or all of Kitsap County, or all of King County, or Pierce County, to just those people that like traveling, that like whatever, and they would see your post.
And that's just people on Facebook, though.
That's just
Yeah.
people on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, you know, yeah, there's always the argument that, okay, this campaign hit the Facebook people, that campaign hit 49 of the other people and stuff, but dollar for dollar, you know.
Well, that's where most people are. I mean, that's the reality of
It really is, you know, and
Social
so.
media.
It is. It really is.
So in 2018, with the proposal that we've put together, it includes continuing to do Facebook more often, and you know, our Facebook strategy is to push not necessarily specific events. Well, actually, on Facebook, it's more of an event based, because there's, you know, getting them to come here and see things. Same thing with, you know, the second part of that is the Washington Tourism Alliance. They have, I think it was 80 million hits on their website, the Washington experiencewa.com. It's incredible. And when we went through the media campaign with them, you know, they allow featured events, and the way the featured events work is they basically populate and go until the event comes. Very few people are taking advantage of those. So we've built money in to basically target, you know, 11, 12 activities a month. I mean, a year, one a month, to target those specifically. We got the Explore Port Orchard website, which includes, you know, right now it's what we're working on is, again, it's the most comprehensive events calendar in the Port Orchard area. It's a work in progress. It will always be, but you know, last year we had 13,500 hits, up from 9. Nothing compared to the PortOrchard.com website, but it's growing. And even on those, 8%, only 8% of the traffic that hit those came from within the Port Orchard area. So you figure, you know, there's another, you know, 12,000 people from outside of South Kitsap that were looking at the Explore Port Orchard website. 20% of the traffic came specifically from the Seattle area. Then in addition to that, we've got the, you know, the print, mainly Discover Kitsap, which is the publication that the Kitsap newspaper group puts out, which is distributed throughout the area and the ferry network. And then there's our Port Orchard brochure, which so far to date, actually, for this contract this year, they've distributed 40,000 of our Port Orchard brochures so far. We are in 435 different locations between Longview, Kelso area, up to SeaTac. We don't hit the Seattle area. We're not going that direction. Then we go off to the coast. Our philosophy is kind of that if it's happening, you know, people up in the Everett, the Bellingham, and the Bellevue area may not be as likely to come over here. We want the people, you know, in the Tacoma, Pierce County, Olympia area that are more likely to drive this direction. So that's kind of our target for that. That's this portion of it. The one thing that we are adding, we're going to try to add, we've added it, we're testing it for the rest of this year, is a software called Syndical. And what it does is it allows us to enter events into one form online, and then they syndicate it, they send it out to others. They're still working out the kinks. It's a fairly young company, and they've basically told us, you know, we're not going to charge you until we get it worked out, because, you know, we've done it and you know, it hasn't been successful yet. It's $49 a year. We went out, we researched every newspaper in Western Washington that has a calendar online. There's different, you know, event calendars in Seattle that we can syndicate to. And so hopefully, you know, if they get that rolling, that's what we can do there. So that's the Explore Port Orchard one. And I've got 8 minutes to go over the other two.
So I just had a quick question. I wasn't sure in your description here what actually the money that you're requesting is going to pay for.
Yes.
And so looking at your, at C, other expenses, and then it lists LTAC. It looks like administration and then the marketing that you just described, and is that marketing the Facebook? The
So
$1,200?
it is a combination of the Washington Tourism Alliance, Facebook, the Discover Kids app. Let me see, where's my list here? So we've got the Washington Tourism Alliance, Destination Washington. That's a / Destination Washington. The Explore Port Orchard website, Facebook, and the advertising on the featured ads on the Washington Tourism Alliance. So there's a membership cost, and then there's the cost to actually put it in. We're looking for, there's an organization called Destination Development Association that Roger Brooks has just a new organization that he's just formed, where they talk about how to grow your tourism, market, and that's an ongoing thing that the city's been doing now for once a month. Next one's coming up on October 4th. It talks, this one they've kind of gone into specifically downtown resurgences. Before they talked about, they do case study of what other towns are doing to promote their tourism, their visitors. The fact that we don't have the largest ball of twine or giant furniture on every corner. What is our focus? And so working on developing those types of things, marketing, and I don't want to say branding or image, but we do need more the photographs, getting somebody to take photographs of around town when the weather's nice, because it seems like the only time I ever think of taking pictures, and whenever I have time to take pictures, it's in December when the weather's not quite there. And then it also includes this whole business with maintaining the calendar, because what we do right now is we go out and we visit the things will pop up. We scroll through the Port Orchard page, we scroll through the events in Port Orchard page, we scroll through Macaroni Kids, just to find things that are going on. That's how stuff on our calendar gets populated. Mm-hmm. And so we've asked for money to help support that function. If it's just somebody 5 hours a week to come in and do that, because it's one of the ones that if the city took it on, they'd be paying probably $25 an hour to to do it, and it's something that needs to be done.
Okay.
So it's a combination of all those things.
Well, thank you.
That comes up to the almost $19,000. Seagull Festival is number 2 on the list. The Seagull Festival is, I don't need to explain much, my guess is, about the Seagull Festival. Happens Memorial Day weekend. It's part of the Kitsap Harbor Festival. We've begun cooperating very well with the Bremerton side and the port, and so it's going great. The amount that we're asking for here specifically, because last year we had the $1,600 worth of LTAC funds. We got 16 from LTAC. So overall, the whole event was a net loss of $644. And because normally we'd ask for 2, and when we got into last year is the first year that we've received a reduced amount. This year we want to add on Sunday a marine swap meet. Down on the waterfront, they've got some huge ones over in Des Moines and in Everett. There aren't any on this side, and I know that the port is excited about it, doing something down by the park on the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. So I've increased it to $3,000 to actually, was it 3? Wherever that one is, 32? 32, yeah. To cover that, so the $2,000 was is effectively for the Seagull Festival, and then the extra monies is since we've never done the swap meet, you know, we need to hit all of the local boating places and stuff like that just to get the word out. You know, I talked to the guy down at Orin down at Kitsap Marine, and you know, he says that, you know, people are always looking for stuff, and because a boat's just another four-letter word for a hole in the water that you dump money into. So if there's a way to help people save money on that, you know, and it is something that we'll have to make grow. But it's one that, you know, if we can convince the boaters to come into town, and if it turns out to be an annual event that they can bring their boats over, go to the swap meet, it's a win for the town. Interestingly enough, I don't know why, the port doesn't pay lodging tax, and I think the port should. You know, I mean, those are people there spending the night, right? So.
Oh, I see what you're saying, the boaters.
Yeah, the boaters. The boaters are camping, and it's just like whether they're staying in your bedroom or whether they bring their bedroom with them. They should be paying lodging tax also.
Where would the swap meet be?
We wanted to do it down at the waterfront, by
The
the park.
gazebo?
Yeah.
By the gazebo?
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. This year, you know, what we did because Fathoms moved the Seagull Splat Run to a different weekend in June, we teamed with the drag race, the Bremerton Speedway or Dragway or whatever they call themselves.
The Speedway.
And they brought they brought some of the drag cars out, and so that was really cool except when we were doing the Seagull contest and they all left, you know, because those cars are really loud. But yeah, so and the people really liked that. I think we had 30 cars, so I think it's something that, you know, they could really grow on also, especially the street cars look really cool. So, any questions?
I think you answered everything really well.
If Sharon's here, I can go at the end too.
We're gonna actually teleconference Sharon
Okay.
for her, so.
Why don't we talk to Sharon and then we'll come back to visitor operations as there's
You
time.
wanna do?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can whenever. Yeah, because I mean, I'll be here till the end of the night. So.
See the phone will.
Okay, we're now teleconferencing in Sharon King of Fathoms.
Did you take my pen?
This is Sharon.
Hi Sharon, this is Fred and the Lodging Tax Committee. How are you
Hi,
tonight?
Fred. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Sharon.
Should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, Lorraine's here, Sheila, Matt, and Janine.
Okay.
And why
And
don't,
I'm in Leavenworth.
Good
Oh.
for you.
Nice.
Big parade tomorrow, so our float got in up here today, so we're all ready to roll, heading out for dinner next.
okay.
So I guess I can begin by saying, first off, I have received word that the carnival is not able to come, so that affects my budget considerably. And so I was on the phone earlier in the week to another carnival provider, and what transpired, Richard Bynum from Butler Amusements in California called me on Monday indicating that they were cutting back on their operations in Washington. They were only going to be doing 2 major shows in Washington and 1 in Oregon, so of course that left us high and dry. And we were really excited about the carnival coming back. And so he recommended me to call another gentleman, Jim Davis of Davis Amusements, who put on the Kitsap County Carnival this year. And of course, everything for next year for the dates that we wanted, which would be Parade Weekend and the 4th of July, are completely booked. And they have, the Davis operation has 2 a brother on this side of the mountains and a brother on the other side of the mountains. And I then talked to the other brother on, just yesterday, he called me and again said that there were no dates available whatsoever and that most likely any carnival is already booked for next year for the 4th of July. So I tweaked the budget a little bit. If you want to turn to the budget page, I'll share with you the numbers that I adjusted.
Sure, which page, Sharon? What page number?
2018 budget. If they're in
Okay.
order, 1, 2.
It looks like the spreadsheet?
4. Yeah, the spreadsheet,
Okay.
the Excel spreadsheet. It would be page 5.
Okay.
But that's a good point. I should always number the extra pages just so they'd be in all sequential order. So the first budget item with the advertising, I dropped that to 10.5 because that would affect an ad that we were going to have in Destination Washington. And then I adjusted the income on that side to 1,500 by adding fees as another way to raise the income level. Then going down to where you see Summer Carnival, Butler Amusements, that line got totally removed. Then on the 4th of July fireworks, I dropped that to 2,800 to help balance the budget. And Festival by the Bay, I dropped that to 1,000 for expenses, which I think brings us a little bit more in line anyway with Festival by the Bay. And so that total then at the bottom is 111,300. And then the bottom of the income total is 71,300.
Sharon, for Sinclair Inlet Fireworks, did you mean 28,000 or 2,800?
28,000.
Okay, thank you.
If we could get by with expending only 2,800 for fireworks, we would have a fireworks show that could last an hour.
Yeah, I was.
It would be pretty awesome. And I have met with Wave Cable, by the way, or Wave, just Wave. I'm so used to calling them Wave Broadband. But I felt very, very positive that they're on board with this already for next year. They were talking of the fireworks opportunities that they have, not fireworks, but the opportunities that Wave has to do our vendor shows and have a presence at the concert even as our major sponsor. And I mentioned that Peninsula Credit Union sets up a canopy and gives away lemonade, and they really liked that idea. And so I really came away from there feeling very positive that they're on board with our fireworks sponsor again. And this would be, I believe, the 11th year for them. Chris did tell me that they're a little bit behind in their budget process, but hopefully he would let us know by the end of December if the fireworks is definitely a go for them sponsoring us this year. And I have reached out to Kitsap Bank this year on a higher level than I've done in the past. I asked Kitsap Bank if they would consider being a total concert sponsor, and they've always given us like $1,000, and I hopefully that they will come through with a little bit more. I asked for 8 from Kitsap Bank as the as the concert series sponsor, and laid out a plan of what all we would be able to do for them, and hopefully they'll raise what they give us a little bit. For the budget, I've only counted on $1,000 from Kitsap Bank as what they've done in the past years. But I just wanted to share that with you, that we are seeking additional sponsorships every opportunity that we can and every place we can. But as anyone will tell you, in a small town, garnering a big sponsorship is really a premium, and those just don't happen very often. So we are also going to be pulling back, and Matt, this is for you more than anything. We're going to take the Seagulls Flat Run and move it back to Memorial Day weekend. When we set up the run to run on June 10th of this last year, there were no other runs set anywhere that we knew of. And all of a sudden, here we get ready for the run, and there's 5 other runs going on at that time. So at our board meeting, we did agree that we would pull it back to Memorial Day weekend. So our board is working to try and create whatever we can to make it a more successful weekend. The pirate thing kind of died on the vine. We had issues with trying to get the pirates in and make a go of that. So we're going to be really digging hard to try and come up with something a little bit more creative to tie it all together with the chamber and with Fathoms and continue to make it a great event so that we're all grouped together for the Seagull stuff. The Dinghy Derby and the Crew Regatta, I've got that in the budget. I look for that to be a bigger and better event. We're working on trying to secure a sponsorship for the Dinghy Derby, and what we're planning to do per feedback from other people is that we're going to lower the cost of the Dinghy Derby. We had it set at $100 to cover any kind of expenses that we would have, but not knowing for the first year what it was going to be, and ending up with 2, we decided that we would lower it, and that was due to a conversation that I had with Van Bliss and what he had shared with me of the days of old when they did the Dinghy Derby. And so we've agreed to lower that down to $25 as an entry fee, and I think we will get a lot more businesses participating in it this year, even individuals participating. So we're hoping for a greater event, and I know that the Dinghy Derby will be successful. I know that the Crew Regatta will bring in a lot of out-of-town folks, hopefully all heads and beds, because they're coming from other areas that day. Maybe they'll come the night before and take in the activities that's going on, but it will be hopefully a bigger and better event next year on the waterfront. And let's see, those are the main changes that I can identify for you all as to what our future plans are, what we're currently working on. As you know, the Chocolate Festival for this month was canceled due to the fact that we only had 3 commercial vendors signed up, no chocolatiers. We went to the Seattle Chocolate Festival with our applications and flyers. Al drove down to Portland to the Portland Chocolate Festival with applications and flyers. He also went to Pacific Beach and did the same thing. We just simply got no chocolatiers. We would love to have a chocolate festival in Kitsap County, but at this point we have taken it out of the budget. We have closed out the checking account and moved it to the concert account, and so that's a done deal. We've tried for 2 years for the chocolate festival, and if it doesn't work, you have to admit failure, or maybe not necessarily failure. We tried and it didn't work, so we're eliminating the chocolate festival. And if we come up with something great and new, you guys will be the first to learn. We'll be the first. You'll be the first that we'll let you know. So at this point, I would be happy to answer any questions that any of you might have.
I really appreciate your application and all the things that you do. This is Lorraine. And
Thank you, Lorraine.
You're welcome. And as you were talking about sponsorships, I just wondered, and I've been thinking about this for a while, about larger corporate sponsorships, maybe that they have a presence here in Kitsap County, but they're not a small business. So like Target or Starbucks or some of those. What's your experience with trying that?
I have reached out for a source with Starbucks, for example, to matter of fact. Our person who does our website is an IT, he's an IT person at Starbucks Corporate in Seattle. And then I recently came across a gentleman who works with Mile Hill Storage, who has a very close tie to Starbucks. And he and I, when I was during my moving process and I rented another storage unit, I was visiting with him and we exchanged conversations considerably about, he lives in Gig Harbor, and we exchanged conversations about sponsorships and how hard it is to get sponsorships, especially in our town, because we're small businesses and we need the corporate dollars. And he said that he would put some feelers out for us. He does know of Fathoms, even though he lives in Gig Harbor, but I'm hoping to make contact with him again. And I told him, I said, I'll go anywhere and make a presentation to anybody. And if you just open the door, I'll go through it. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. And as far as Target, I've not explored that avenue yet. I'm more than willing to do that, but I've just not explored that avenue yet.
And I just use that more of an example, but that's really awesome
Sure.
that you're
Sure.
thinking along those lines and starting with Starbucks. I think that's really
We
good.
are, and last year I sent a letter to Bruce Titus and asked them for $5,000, $4,500 going to fireworks, $500 going to our scholarship program. We didn't get that, and that's okay, because at least I'm out there stepping, trying to knock on doors. And I did the same thing with Gray Chevrolet. I emailed Gray again 2 years ago. They were on board as a community sponsor, and I did email Gray. We're trying this year, and I don't have it in the budget, but we're hoping to go after the Auto Complex Center. One of our parents of our royalty was able to work with them, and they had thus come on board and provided us automobiles to take our court to any out-of-town parade that we go to, with the exception of Leavenworth. The parents are all up here now with our court. We have 5 court members, so all of their parents are here at the same time. But that was a nice getting our foot in the door out there, because of the fact that he just knew how to go after it. And so that's kind of the marketing person that I would love to have on board Fathom every day, so that I don't have to do it all.
Nice, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, Sharon, thank you for being available, and I hope you have a nice dinner.
We are. There's 8 of us going to dinner tonight. We're all going to King Ludwig's and hear accordion music and maybe stomp a little polka every now and then.
Oh,
you
that
know?
sounds fun.
It is. But the parade's tomorrow at noon, and our float's here, and Port Orchard will be advertised all up and down the streets tomorrow.
Great.
So just know we're pushing Port Orchard for you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Sharon.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, just thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay. No more questions then,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Is there another way?
No, it's just, yeah, this is
So is the Mustang Club here?
they are, there is 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if,
Here, I'll move
I
down.
can-
I'll move down so they can sit around this edge.
do you want me to go grab them or?
Yeah.
Sure, okay, definitely.
We'll shuffle chairs.
Which one is this?
Mustang.
Mustang Club, okay.
These Mustangs on the waterfront. Okay.
Have they applied before? This is their first time. That's what I thought I read.
I think still have a fax machine.
Wow, I know, I was like, look at the lines.
You mean you're not supposed to have a fax machine anymore?
Okay, okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Wait, you can't both be number 12. One of you is going to have to.
Right? Where would you like us to sit?
Just right there in the end is
Just right on
perfect.
the
Yeah,
end,
I'll move
okay.
that down here so we're not so far away.
I'm Susan Statzog, and I'm the show chair for Kids at Mustang Club, and this is Al Rocker, president.
Oh, hi. I'm Lorraine Olson. I'm with Mrs. House Bed and Breakfast.
Okay.
And I'm Sheila Klein, I'm with the Jingle Bell Run.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Matt Murphy with the Chamber of Commerce.
Janine with the city again.
Yes. And I'm Fred Chang with the city.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming. Do you want to just, I guess, tell us a little more about your event and then?
Oh, our Mustangs on the Waterfront show. Next year, it's always the last Sunday in July. We just standardized it. It used to move around a little bit in the 90s, but for a number of years, we've had it just the last Sunday. And of the 30 years, we were the first year was in Bremerton, Havre Hogan's, and we went to South Kitsap Mall in 90, and then in 91 we went to Paulsville for some reason. In 92 we have been on the waterfront Port Orchard since 1992. So it's increased in numbers from that very first show. It was like 80, and then our top, the most cars we've had is 288. So, but we limit it to just Mustangs, so we're different than other shows down there. But anyway, it's people love this location, I have to tell you, because we go to a lot of Mustang shows around the state and even Oregon, different places, and they love this location the best of anywhere they come. So that's a lot of the feedback we get. So
What is it about Port Orchard that they like?
they love the location, they love the water, they love the businesses down there. We one of our members organizes like a poker walk, so they can go out and get into the get into some of the stores and stuff. And they love, well, the Brick House used to be Moondogs. They've accommodated us for a number of years upstairs where we can do our trophies. And so I think a lot of people come and eat, and I don't have exact numbers like how many people stay in hotels, but I do know that, like, just to give you a general idea, we had 288 show cars last year, and 145 traveled 50 miles or more, but a lot of them come from Seattle. We did count that we had 20 come from out of state, or the country, which I mean Canada, because we have a few members that come, or not members, but a few other Mustang Club members that come in from like Vancouver and stuff. So now I haven't heard of your bed and breakfast, so I would like to be interested in hearing about that, because I just found out a year before last there was one up on Kitsap Street, off of Kitsap Street, Sydney,
Yes.
and some people from Montana that came to our show stayed there last year. Is that the place?
Yes, on the corner of Kitsap and Sydney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it was Cedar Cove. They're on Seattle.
They're in
aren't
Seattle.
they?
They're all also off.
Well, I
Kitsap.
remember
They're on
Cedar
Kitsap.
Cove, but yeah, because well, we put flyers out, and see, I brought you some samples of stuff, like, 'cause we do some a lot of.
Shit, I should bring business cards to these
Yeah.
meetings.
You should, because I'm gonna get your information. But we put out a flyer each year, and this year we put lodging for the Comfort Inn, but I get a lot of calls that they're like full, so I have numbers of different places. I didn't know about yours, so
Thank you.
I will add that to our list, and we
Thank
could
you.
probably, add different information to our flyer too. But I don't. Do you want to look at that? So we have a shirt design each year that we pattern everything to like our programs. Put a watermark on our flyers that are always a year behind because we don't get them in time. But they always say Port Orchard, Washington on it, so they're on our shirts. I forgot to grab a shirt.
Should've brought a
because it
shirt.
was Blue Friday. But anyway,
Yeah,
this
they have a blue
is
shirt.
yeah, we do a lot of advertising for the city, but people love the location. It is
That's awesome.
honestly one of the favorite. We get comments about that every year, that people love to come to Port Orchard.
A lot of the shows are in a location where there's really nothing to do. That's why people particularly like this one, is because they can wander around. They like to come up. They do eat at the restaurants, and they enjoy being able to not just sit in a chair by their car all day long. And that's one of the big draws. You'll see them stand along the waterfront watching the boats and stuff.
For a few years, we've been on Saturday, we've been doing like a poker run where we can take our cars, and a lot of times we'll meet like at A&W, and then that'll be like our starting point, and we go to different locations. We don't do the downtown Bay Street area because that's Sunday. They do get to do the poker walk along there, so Sometimes people come in for the weekend, sometimes they don't. I really haven't tracked that, I don't know. Do you have any questions for us? Or-
I was just curious about what made you decide to apply this year?
Well,
I'll tell you how. My neighbor is the president of the Saints Club. And we trade information, back and forth and stuff, and do different things. And so he asked me, he says, well, do you guys know about the hotel motel tax? Oh.
so it's his fault.
So it's his fault.
That's wonderful, but I was
Yeah,
just
more-
curious how you.
If you want-
Yeah, we didn't know
You've
about
never heard
this.
of it otherwise?
No.
No, we hadn't
Or
heard
hadn't
of this,
okay.
and so,
He just-
we're a nonprofit club, of course, and so, when Al mentioned that, it's like, oh, well, I'll call and ask, so I did, and,
No, that's good.
in the spring, and, they told us, Brandy, and then Janine's been very helpful too with information, so, that's how we heard about it,
Yeah.
so, like, so,
So I see that you've got income sources of $10,500.
yes, 'cause
Right.
we have sponsors.
And you have expenses of $10,500. The income doesn't include the $1,500 you're requesting from us. So effectively, you have no necessary shortfall or anything like that, right?
No, but okay, so we went over this, how to fill it out, because I didn't know how to do it, and when I put it in, I was said, no, this is wrong, you need to show in the funds that you're requesting in here, so that's in the first column. Now, if we filled it out incorrectly, I apologize.
No, it's filled out correctly.
It is?
I'm just
Okay.
wondering how much money you need to put the show on.
Well, the additional money that if we were awarded any lodging tax proceeds, we would be able to advertise more. So, we would, be able to put ads in like, car magazines and different publication, cruising magazine. It takes money to advertise in those, where sometimes we'll just get listed on their calendars, the free calendars that people give out. I probably have a sample in here. You've seen like the Good Guys calendars or Old Timers calendars, or just like and so we'll get like a line on it, but we're thinking, well, because it is our 30th show too, and we'd be able to do some more advertising in publications.
So your 30th
like
anniversary
ads,
show.
Yeah, our 30th anniversary
Okay.
show, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I know some of the other Mustang clubs in Washington, there's one in
There's more than one?
Olympia. Yeah, there's like 7,
Okay.
but there's
Yeah.
one in Olympia that their 30th is this year, just, or Sunday. On
This year?
Sunday
Oh,
in
wow.
Olympia, and then there's a Mustang club in Seattle, Roundup, that they had their 32nd in July, I believe, and so, yeah, but
Port
we're,
Angeles has a club.
they have a
Port
club in
Angeles
Port
does too.
Angeles, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do they have their own publications, or you guys all share information, I guess, with the other clubs?
We network with all, yeah, because a lot of them come to ours,
and
a
you go
lot
to
of our
theirs,
members
yeah.
go to theirs, and
Yeah.
so we get to know a lot of, but we are the only Mustang club in the state that has just Mustangs
Oh,
right
okay.
In
now
our
still, in our show, because that's what the members have chosen to keep it at, so. And plus the parking, as you know, is limited down there because we haven't broached the idea of closing any streets, made, like the highway, like another club does. But we've heard about that too.
We won't talk about that.
I know about that.
We know all about that, because I've gone to the cruise since the 80s or whenever,
He comes
so.
to my house quite often.
Yeah, I think so. You must see your door, but no, we haven't got there yet, but we do work with Kitsap Bank to use their parking lot, because this is a fun thing that we do. Yeah, so we take pictures of every car that comes to the show on your waterfront, and we give them a calendar, and they get to keep this. So that's kind of fun. And so even if they don't like win a trophy, Some people tell us they come just for the calendars. So now this year, because we had such a backup up the boulevard, we made 2 gates at the entrance. And so people that pre-registered for the show got the pretty picture by the water. And then the other people that didn't got the picture by the green wall by the drive-through. So, you know, it was kind of a ploy, like, okay, you know, pre-register. But yeah, so this is kind of a nice little souvenir that they get to keep for you. And then we always have the date highlighted on July, of course, so they don't forget and schedule something. But anyway, so.
And I just had one other question, and I'm just curious about this. Is this number 5, we asked estimated numbers of increased tourism. And so you have some projected there. How did you do those?
How'd I do this? Okay,
projections?
so working with a few other people on the show committee, you know, getting numbers like I mentioned who came out of town and different things. So it's just a guesstimate, honestly, because we have about, you know, 280 some cars. At least 2/3 of those have another passenger in the car. So it was, and then people, spectators, we don't charge anything for people to come visit and look at the show, and we have people, we've never had an actual count. So that's how I came up with the overall attendance, by if we strictly had the people for the car show there, it'd be at least 500-600.
That are just
So
there
that
for
are just there for
entrance
the
and their
entrance
families.
and the families and things like that. So, and our club members, you know, we're probably about at least 80 there that day of our own club membership, if not more. So that's where it's a guesstimate. So
Well, of course,
yeah,
I'm just
I
curious
don't
on
know.
how people do that. And then
That's how we did it,
getting the
because-
numbers of the
Because we've never really
participants,
counted,
too.
we know the car show participants, and, you know, we could count people that bring, you know, have a full car coming through, or a passenger, a spouse, or a friend, or, you know, some bring families and members, but we've never counted like spectators.
I don't know how you
So I
would.
don't
I was just
know.
wondering.
I don't know
It
how
would
you
be a
do
huge
that.
job to do
We'd
that.
have to have somebody like you know, watching people.
You can kind of tell who
Car,
some
yeah.
of the spectators are, because, you know, they ask questions and stuff like that. And there's a lot of them that just wandering around that you know really are spectators and stuff. Where they come from, you know.
Now, how I
Who knows?
guesstimated like the state overnight, a few years with the Comfort Inn, we would block put a block on a set of rooms, like 10 or whatever. And then, so for a few years, they filled up, but then they said the year before last, only one person said, you know, mentioned, even though we say on the flyer, you know, we say a lot of things on here, and I don't know if they skip over, but they didn't say they were coming for the show, because, you know, then they got a little bit. So this year, they said, well, why? Because we had to put like a form with them or something. And she said, well, let's not worry about it. So, but then I get calls that say, do you have some other options? And so I'm hoping people that do like make arrangements to come out of town would call earlier. So, you know, they're not full, and I don't have to say, well, you know, Harborside is like about 6 miles around the bay, or, you know, Gig Harbor or whatever. But a lot of people just drive for the day if they're coming from Seattle or within the state.
But we do have some that come, like she said, from Montana and Idaho
Idaho, yeah,
That's awesome.
and Canada.
and Spokane.
California. Was last year our long distance person was Colorado, but he had family here, so, you know, I can't guess. And maybe they stayed with their family.
Of
So,
course.
you know,
Yeah,
I
it's a
don't-
real hard thing
It's a
to
hard,
do.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were looking for, so those are truly just kind of.
Show them the save the
Guesstimates.
date cards.
Oh.
That's how we advertise.
Oh yeah, we do this too.
When we go to shows, and even like the Cool Cruise that they have once a month over there at the mall and stuff.
So what we'll do, like about February or March, we will send these out to like the past 3 years of people that have attended our show. Because we used to just do it just the year before, And then we thought, we're not maybe capturing everybody, because I know myself I can't go to a show year after year. I may have to miss something because of family reunion or a wedding or something. So we started going back 3 years, and that's been,
And then
it's brought more people
We
in,
place
I
these on,
think.
give them to people when we go to other
Yeah.
shows too.
That's a really good idea.
yeah, so we do this,
Yeah, it's
and
kinda cool.
people, our members, some will write like their name on it and information, so they have another contact, and so this was last year's.
Yeah.
And so on the back of the card, it says, well, all the information.
Make
and
note of the
Orchard.
orange car on there.
Is
that yours?
Is that yours?
My wife's.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So what we do each year is 4 of our members' car, in order of their membership, they get their picture on there.
Sweet.
So,
That's
and,
nice.
so anyway, so this is advertised to Port Orchard, Washington. So I don't know. You want to look at that? That's what we do too. So we do we're just thinking with the additional funds, we can do more advertising
Yes.
for the 30th and more.
We're shooting for over 300 cars.
Yeah, that's what our goal is this
Just
year.
as-
Well, in advertising in car magazines, that's a really good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not just, like a line on the they have pull-out calendars, some of them, and that's handy too. But when you get a special little, block, it brings more attention to it as well. So, but anyway.
Well, thank you for staying in Port Orchard for your event.
Oh yes,
Really
I
appreciate
grew
that.
up here, and I don't live here right now because of just Gorst. I work in the shipyard. I don't want to drive through there, so I decided. It's like, okay, but- so right now, but this is my hometown, so I
That's
hope
really
that we'll
cute
be able to
card.
stay here for years to come. It was kind of scary a few years ago, when they talked about putting up, condos down there and taking away parking, and it's like, what? Where will we go? But you haven't heard anything about that, have you?
No.
That's not you guys, so.
Just don't even bring it up.
No, okay. Anyway, but that would be really sad, but, yeah, so our our show's grown a lot, so we're, probably gonna start taking over more of Kitsap Bank parking too. It's just the further you get down, it was really traumatic for people, because, for years, we were on the Kitsap Bank end. And then they did the cool, the bleachers and the gazebo and everything. It's like, oh, let's ask for that end, right? And, there's only 130 some spots down there. I know every row, I think I've memorized it. But so it's like, okay, then that got full. So it's like, so then we asked for, we find out, oh, we can ask for more city parking. So we went across the street, and then it was kind of sparse those first few years, but then it's just filled in, and now we need to go down, I think, to the bank. So now we're thinking about, okay, who are we gonna, it's gonna upset people the further they get down the waterfront, but anyway.
But they're still on the waterfront.
They're still on the
A
waterfront.
lot of
Yeah.
waterfront. They're still on it.
Yeah. It's not at a mall.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Anyway.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
No, but I was just going to offer a suggestion.
Yes, I love that.
Other organizations, when they have events downtown and you need to know like where people are coming from or how many people you have as far as spectators, if you offer a free drawing, like a basket of some kind, and have people stop by, have it at a special booth,
Ah.
and then they put their name and maybe an email or a phone number and then just their zip code. And then you would know where people are coming from
And just
to
for
come down to look.
spectators, not
Mhm.
our our show participants, just for people.
Well, do you do a People's Choice Award?
Spectators. Our show is all based on our participants' choice, actually. We don't do a people's choice. We tried that, and what we found was we only had maybe a dozen in there, and it was like all from one family, and they were just
Oh.
trying to, just get a trophy.
Well, that's where,
Right,
the raffle, the
Yeah.
gift
But I thought
basket.
that's
That is
a
a
great
great idea.
idea.
Yeah, but- and make it really big, I mean, so
No.
that people will, you have to go to that booth
spectators,
because
yeah.
they have this big basket you can win, if it's really,
Yeah.
looks really great.
So
people
that
will
would be,
want to
so
put their name
that's
in
what
there.
that's what I'm wondering. Do you want, we can try, that's a great suggestion to try to capture, how many spectators we maybe,
Yeah.
our event may be bringing into the city. So that's a great idea. We'll remember that. In fact, our raffle committee chairperson is Mr. Black's wife, Gina, and she's out there, so we're gonna talk to her about this. Yeah, so that's a great idea. So you'd like I mean, because I'd like a little more specifics too, because I knew that's probably what, I don't know, kind of just a guess.
Well, for what it's worth, it's a guess for everybody.
It's a guess for
It
everybody.
has to be,
So,
yeah,
but
it's a
that's
projection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's how I based it on, is the number of cars we have, the number of people that come with another person or two, or, you know, we have, some people bring kids, there's not a lot of, but there are, because I drove my daughter around for like 15 years to shows, and we have a coloring contest, we have, you know, different things for the kids, we have valve cover races, you know, so things like that.
We have a regular racetrack where they race valve
Yeah.
covers down.
Yeah,
Kids all
fun.
get in on that.
You guys should come down sometime,
Yeah.
have you ever come to,
Oh,
yeah?
yeah, we've been down there.
You've been down
Have
there,
you?
yeah, yeah.
You guys do a wonderful job. It's
It's
really
fun.
fun.
We have
It
a
is.
great, we have a
It's
great
fun.
club and a lot of support with our members and our committees
We
too,
work
and the
hard at it.
community too.
I
It's
can
a lot
tell,
of
it's a
work.
lot of work.
A lot of
Yes, it is
raffle, a lot
work.
of raffle prizes, and we have one member that's been collecting from through the city. And did I pass that program around? Because inside the program, good program. So the whole inside, this is like the raffle prizes we collect,
Oh,
right?
nice.
So a lot of them are from Port Orchard too, or businesses in Port Orchard. So we have really great community support throughout the whole county too. So I don't know if you want to look at this, you're welcome to.
Now, who are the
One.
raffle prizes for?
What, anybody can, even our spectators
And
could.
spectators
You know,
can-
but they buy tickets and, then, they can win and.
Well,
they
there
have
you
to
go.
be-
Have them put their zip code on there.
But, we
Yeah.
could have a special one just for spectators.
Yeah.
And it could be free.
And it could be
maybe.
free.
Yeah,
It could be free.
You'd want it to be free.
So we want
and
it to
then-
be free,
Yeah.
and so, just to encourage we may not capture everybody, but it'd be a start,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it'd
It
give you an
would be.
idea.
Is there any other ideas you have? Think about it. Tell me.
I don't know, let me think.
You could always give away
Yeah.
a free car.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. It doesn't have to be gas powered, right?
There you go.
We have model cars.
Yeah,
right?
yes, we do.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Well, maybe Bruce Titus is expanding. They're one of our sponsors as well.
Oh, good.
And so
Well, of course they should be.
they should be. They're here, right? So we
That's
have West
awesome.
Hills Ford and also Canopy World. He's the owner's a member of our club, and he's been doing it for many years. And Terrace Construction, he's a consulting firm out of Olympia, and they're just friends of sponsors. So yeah, I was super excited. One year we had Courtesy, Parford, and when it was Quisenberry, it was before. Yeah, so we had all 3 Ford dealers in the county. That was my dream.
Good for you.
That happened 1 year, 2 years, I think.
Yeah, a
Then-
couple years, I
Then
think,
Quisenberry went away.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they changed, but then Paulsville closed out. Courtesy Ford went away.
I used to buy Fords from him when it was Howe Ford. So-
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my house, is the
That's
Howe,
the-
old house.
Really?
It's the
Howe,
little
yeah.
Howe
Uh-huh.
house, not the big one.
So the one on Sydney,
Kitsap in Sydney.
or Kitsap in Sydney?
Yeah, across from the United Methodist Church.
A long time ago, my mom's friend we got to tour in that house. I don't remember who lived there because I was a little girl. And it was like this big, huge place. And, yeah.
Must have been the
It was
historical
little.
home tour, maybe.
Oh, no, she knew somebody who lived there, maybe before they did that. It was actually I don't know.
How long ago was that?
Well, it's probably in the 70s.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah.
I wasn't even born yet.
Well, I'm sorry.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay. Well,
That's awesome.
I went to Given, I went to Cedar Heights, I went to,
You are a
South.
neighborhood girl.
Yeah.
That's
Do you want the
Yes.
program back?
and I just
Can-
sold
can
my.
we keep
parents-
this?
You can keep that, yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. So, yeah, like my parents, I just sold their house on Kitsap Street last year. That was kind
Which
of
one was that?
hard.
No.
It was up almost to the corner, the cute little one with the
934? No.
1018.
Oh, okay.
It's next to the one that they wish that would go in the gully. That's
Oh,
what they
okay,
always-
yeah.
Every time
Oh, yeah,
they go,
that's-
the
yeah.
firemen would get called and they'd
Oh,
say,
yeah.
"Man, we were hoping it was too far gone." Sorry. They fixed it up though.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, someone's living there
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, somebody's living there now. But yeah, my parents' house is a
Okay,
gray
right next
one
to it.
with the
Okay.
little scallops on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, they lived there for a long time, from the 77 they bought that house, so.
Well, thank you very much.
You're
We've
welcome.
enjoyed
Do
your
you wanna, you
presentation
can keep a
lot.
flyer? You can
Okay,
keep a
yeah.
save the date
Thank you.
card, I have
Sure,
extra of
thank
those.
you.
I don't, did I,
What'd you do with it?
I don't know.
I think we gave that back.
That's
That's
okay,
okay.
we're good.
Yeah.
You're good?
Yeah,
Okay.
All
thank
right.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice meeting all
It's very
you
nice
guys.
meeting you guys.
And I'm really good friends with Lee.
Oh, you are? My
Yes.
sister-in-law?
Yeah, we work together.
Yeah, you do?
And we're still, we did, I don't work there anymore, but she does, and we're still real good friends. And
Yeah,
keeping
she's
tabs on her.
awesome.
Yes, she is.
Here it is, you guys can have that if you
Okay,
want to.
thanks.
So, I would love your contact information for it, then I can
Is that-
pass it on.
Go ahead.
Or you can put
Yeah.
it onto the, we can,
She has a website, Mrs. House Bed and Breakfast.
I don't know, maybe it was Mrs. Howe who lived there, and my mom's friend was a nurse, and like, she was like a caregiver. 'Cause
Actually,
this was
it was
so
the
long
Bassons
ago.
who lived there.
Well, she was a, my mom's
Mary
friend was
and-
I remember Mary.
She
She was
was-
really little.
She was there from, they
Remember-
lived there from 1950 to 1990. They lived
Okay.
there for 40 years.
So this was probably, I'm gonna guess it was probably in the late 60s, early 70s.
When did you graduate?
76. 376 in my class. Do you remember that, right?
There's the contact information. and
Okay.
I can drop by some
Okay.
cards sometime.
And what was your name again?
Lorraine.
Lorraine. Okay.
Yeah, I
just
told
talked to
Lee
Lee
that
the other day.
Yeah, I told her I thought
When
I
did
saw
you
your name
graduate?
in this.
83.
83?
I'm
See,
not
who
gonna say who
graduated in 83? I know. Let's see, Teresa Brooks. Did you know Jack Brooks or
And Jack.
Jack? Yeah.
And then Charlie Phillips must have lived right down the road from you guys too.
Well,
He's on
my
the-
mom and dad bought that house in 77, so I was already out of school when they bought that house, but I worked in the shipyard, walked down the hill
Mhm.
for a few years.
As everybody
Yeah.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Nice
It
to
was
meet
very
you all.
nice to meet you.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Is Fred, is one of these your waters?
Only one is.
This
The
is
rest-
yours?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
this
yours
one.
then.
Yeah.
And this must be mine, okay. God, I thought I stole your water or something. I have a way of doing that. Who's next? Bay Street Association. Those are-
Well, look who it is.
We're from the Board of Bay Street Association. I've never heard of you. What do you do?
Kind of a new group.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. So, I think everybody's viewed our request. right?
Which one are you speaking on first?
So we have our two, we did split them up between marketing and events. They are all one, kind of one overarching request. So I don't know how, did you want to ask questions or would you like us to?
I think it's nice if you do a little
Present.
presentation.
Yeah, just sort of
Yeah.
walk us through it.
Okay,
And
Well-
explain
Let's
the
start with the
differences
events one.
between each one.
sure. Let's start with you first.
Which one?
Events.
And that is the one for 24,533.
Well, 24,000 is encompassing both of the requests. So that's our total request. And then we have 9,945 for marketing and 14,608 for our events.
So this one for 10,533 is not different?
We have two for you. We have this one for 24,533 and that one for 10,533.
For marketing,
Yeah, that one says tourism marketing.
okay.
So if you could talk
So
a little
this
bit
is-
about what the differences are
Yeah,
between the
sure.
two.
So this is the straight marketing,
Right.
right? So
That's
this
the
is
non-specific
the
event
non-specific
related,
event marketing.
which is-
For 10,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
Non-specific event marketing?
Yeah, so this is overall marketing of the Bay Street Association.
Okay, marketing versus events. Okay.
Right, and the other marketing, the other request is for event marketing. It's for
Okay.
events
Okay.
and then event
Yeah.
marketing.
So these
Yeah.
are correct, and they're just you
Right.
both use the word
Yeah,
marketing. Okay.
right,
Okay.
okay.
So you're starting
So-
with that one?
The
Yes.
events one or the
No, the
No,
non-event
the
one.
straight.
Tourism
straight
marketing one.
Tourism
Okay.
marketing, yes. So this one, we would be advertising in a lot of the regional publications and then also out-of-state publications, which is what we're currently doing. The Country Register, Art Access, and then more locally Discover Kitsap. Washington Destinations has a website, and then we also maintain our own website, our POBSA website, and then we have a Facebook page, which we do Facebook marketing as well. So our focus is on bringing tourists to downtown Port Orchard and coming into Port Orchard to shop, to bring their boats in, to utilize the restaurants. Yeah, just the entire, and the focus is on the downtown with the Bay Street Association. We're really focused on that tourist core, which is really what people from out of town think of when they think of Port Orchard. They're looking for that waterfront experience. And that's what we want to promote with our association. So we work with other entities, nonprofits, Explore Port Orchard, the Chamber of Commerce. We're partnering more and more with the port. We partnered with them on the Art and Antique Fair this past summer. So we're looking, to kind of expand some partnerships, but we really use this funding to promote the entire downtown. So if there's an event going on, maybe that isn't included in our event marketing and not a specific Bay Street Association event, but an event that's happening downtown, we can help with promoting that as well. So it's
So the Country Register, for instance, is distributed in 6 states, and it's in antique stores and fabric stores and things like that, and they have about 60,000 people that regularly pick up that little newspaper, and we advertise both specific events like the Art and Antique Fair, but we also, comes out every 2 months. So if there isn't an event, we do a come to the Kitsap Peninsula and spend time in downtown Port Orchard and shop and boat and do whatever, and they're like half-page ads.
Nice.
And so we do those regularly. And the same with Art Access. Art Access is a art magazine, and it's distributed from Vancouver, British Columbia to Portland in hotels with concierge, in tourist chambers and places like that. And so when there's an art affiliated event, like Art and Antique or the art walks when we're doing them, or anything that has an art component, we put that in there as well. And we're one of the few from Gig Harbor. When we first started advertising in that, there was nothing from Gig Harbor to Port Townsend. There was nothing on the peninsula there in Art Access, and now it's expanded, so there's
Nice.
And we've been doing some more targeted Facebook marketing. This year, we focused on, you were targeting zip codes out of the area.
We did, for Art and Antique, we did 50 miles. We took Seattle as the center and went 50 miles, and then we took Portland as the center and went 50 miles. And then we took right about Centralia and did a 25, and that covered that whole corridor there. And we got about a 10,000 impression for the boost that we did. It was pretty interesting.
So tell me about the Destination Washington advertising.
That would be if it was event specific, and we would pay our portion of the lesser amount because we're part of Explore Port Orchard. So we would pay, that's for our portion of the Destination Washington's event specific type ad.
So you wouldn't, so these funds wouldn't be focused on the Destination Washington because it's event focused?
Right.
More so it might be in
It would be in the other one.
this one.
But we can put our events on, and we can put general marketing on Destination Washington as well.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions about this one?
I had a question about the survey. You had mentioned the partnership with Explore Port Orchard and designing a quarterly survey. And how will you administer that survey?
It's actually a Fathoms idea. One of the questions that's come up recently is how are you going to know why people come to the hotels and bed and breakfasts? So we talked about, with Explore Port Orchard and Fathoms, doing a quarterly, here's our events, and handing it out to the bed and breakfast and Comfort Inn, and even the Days Inn, although he probably won't participate. So that they could potentially have people that come in check off what they were there, what they saw while they were there, maybe even how they heard about it. The Fathoms folks used to do it, and Sharon's willing to help, pass those around and collect them again. So she would pass them around, and then she would collect them at the end of each period. And then we would be able to get a little bit more insight into why people are staying at the hotel.
So these are overnight people that you're interested in surveying? Okay.
It's that problem
awesome.
that everybody has is capturing how many people are actually coming in from
Exactly.
that area. So we try to do it through our raffle baskets as well. So that's a way that we're trying to get zip codes. For our ladies' night out, we do raffle baskets. We do 4 raffle baskets, and in order to get your ticket entered, we ask everyone for their email and zip code, as well as their name and phone number. So that captures a lot of zip codes. And we've recently started having the Fathoms princesses or the court go around with clipboards and try to capture some of the people that are just walking around, trying to get, a more accurate kind of count on how many people are coming from out of area, not just anecdotally, because we need those hard numbers, and they're so hard to get.
They really are hard to get, so
Yeah.
appreciate your creativity in trying to do that.
It's amazing the people that won't answer the question.
Okay.
They just flat won't answer. They think that somehow it's a scam. It's
Yeah.
somehow.
They won't tell you
You're gonna get them
them.
somehow.
You're not asking their name, just their zip code?
We've got a little form that they can fill out, and even if they are not going to fill out everything, I said, if you could please just give the zip code because we get extra points. And if you explain it, a lot of
Yeah.
times they will, but so many people won't, for whatever reason, won't give you any information.
Well, the golf tournament, I just said, if it's not 100% complete, you won't win. So when I drew it, I was like, okay, they completed it, okay.
They can win.
That's right, and if somebody hadn't completed it, I'd have just put the sucker back in and said, sorry, they didn't win.
It's really difficult to get people to give you
Yeah.
any kind of information.
Yeah.
Equifax.
Right. I know. I mean, you don't want to give out a lot of information, but.
So even maybe just asking for zip codes, that's less invasive.
Right, yeah.
than
We thought
what
so,
we do.
but there are still
Yeah.
people that look at you like, why do you want to know that?
They're hesitant to give the zip code.
Mhm.
So we say, because we get extra points.
Points and work.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they don't ask that.
But why don't we try? You can't win unless, what am I? You can try that one, Matt.
Well, a lot of it's, well, I'm from out of town, so I'm not gonna be here, so I don't wanna fill it out, because I don't wanna win the basket, and then I'll say, oh, we get even more points if you're from out of town. So even though you don't want the basket, please just put your zip code.
Can you fill out the card for them and just ask their zip code and then put it in? 'Cause I
All
wonder-
it says is zip code.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah,
got
but it's
name, zip code,
that
email.
they don't want to touch it maybe, or they don't want to write it.
I'm there with
So-
a pen, you know,
Yeah,
just
so if you
tell me
wrote
your
it
zip
for
code.
them, yeah.
It's a good effort.
So we try. We had a book at the market. I don't know.
We did,
We better
yeah.
check and find out what happened with that. There was a book at the market that people could sign into.
Guest book.
Ask for zip code.
At the farmer's market?
No, at the Porter Tribune.
I think that's gone. I
It's
don't
gone,
know that
yeah.
I've seen that in
Yeah.
a long time.
I don't know that I have either. It just dawned on me that I hadn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we haven't used that for a couple of years. But we have been kind of talking about focusing more on marketing to that, the northern end of the peninsula, like up by Port Townsend, Port Angeles, bringing people from up there into Port Orchard. How we can market more in that area.
Have you also considered Mason County? Shelton, Allen?
Down to Olympia,
Down to Olympia.
yeah, especially with the art access.
And I just had another quick question. We asked you a question about can you operate this project with reduced funding? And you said we would have to reduce the amount and scope of the advertising. So what would that look like for you if you had to make some reductions?
It would depend on what amount of money. I mean, the advertising in the Country Register is about $210 every 2 months. The advertising in Art Access is $180 every 2 months. The website's gonna be in the $1,500 range. So it would depend on the amount, and then we would look at, we might do fewer print ads, we might do more Facebook boosts. We might cut back some on the bells and whistles on the website, that sort of thing.
Okay. So you're sort of already you're thinking about where you would make adjustments if you had to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
We're redesigning our website right now. We're in the process of it. We just started. We had our first meeting last week. So that's an uncertain figure for us right now going into next year because we haven't decided on who we're going with for our design company and who we're gonna contract with. So that's a little bit of an area where we're not sure what the cost will be next year.
What do you hope to do with a redesigned website? What's your dream of your new website?
More functionality. Right now, it's not great for members, but it's also not great for. It's kind of trying to be all things to everyone, and we want it to be a really good place for out of town visitors to look when they're looking at what to do in downtown Port Orchard.
Nice.
So we want that. We want it to showcase our town and our businesses a little bit better than it does. Actually, a lot better. The platform that is being used right now is kind of an older platform, so we're looking to probably go to a WordPress platform where it'll be a lot more
More interactive.
yeah, and vibrant. And we want an interactive map. That's something that
Nice.
we're
It's gonna be
really
2
looking for.
pages, one for membership, one for displaying the town and really
Yeah.
drawing people in by that. And we've seen a few that are really dynamic, you know, where
Awesome.
we can just really make it vibrant pictures and just really advertise the town a little bit more.
Good.
And then, of course, the back door for membership,
Mhm.
you know, that we can kind of separate a little bit, so we can give the information to membership, be a good communication piece for us, but the front page needs to be talking to the public that types in downtown Port Orchard, and that thing's gonna come up and wow them.
It's
Nice.
about 6 years old, so it's
It's time.
due for a
Mhm.
facelift.
That's a great thing to be doing. Thank you.
And did you want to talk about the other application, I guess, or I guess?
Yeah, sure. Events, yeah. So the attachment on this application kind of outlined all of our events that we're hoping to promote this year. So starting off with an event, the Flower Festival, which we ran last year, but it was a lot smaller. So we're really hoping to grow this event. So this is an event that would be held probably the last Saturday in April. The farmers market will be going. So currently we are holding the event on a Sunday. So we're going to move it to a Saturday to draw more people in from out of town because farmers market, and we'll be partnering with farmers market. Hopefully also Helpline, who we've partnered with before on some events. The library is going to be bringing in a presenter on gardening. Kind of just have the whole town be a super vibrant garden festival. Sort of thinking about like what they do in Seattle with the flower show, but you know, having it like downtown with the farmers market, like farmers market times 5, really. So fill up that whole parking lot, and have not just garden vendors, but also you know, other types of vendors too. But focusing on like the garden furniture and some food vendors. Probably, we've talked about having a beer garden at that, and then having a band as well, and just having a really fun kickoff festival. Also having the flower baskets for that downtown, and the planters planted. So that would just sort of like bring in the spring and summer season with the flowers.
I love that idea.
Yeah. Well, Camas does one. This year was their 20th year with it, and it's just it's a popular festival. I brought a little bit of information on that with me. They bring in a lot of outside vendors. They have potting stations. They even have like plant wagon and taxi service with the Boy Scouts. Just tons of vendors. Bird feeders, deck planners, plant and garden experts available, live music, petting zoo. So just a big thing. So that's something new. And we would be using the LTAC money to promote that, to bring in the vendors, and then for the event itself as well. So then Ladies Night Out, we have those twice a year. Those grow every time we have them and bring in women from the whole area, but also outside the area. And I think the way that happens a lot is women with friends that are in Seattle or family that are outside, they come for that event now. So that's something that we want to continue to capitalize on. That's an event where we use that raffle to capture the participant information. We are sponsored by Kitsap Bank for that. We put in for a sponsorship again this coming year for Ladies Night Outs. Taste of Port Orchard is something that's been going on. I think now it's in its
This was the 7th.
It'll be in its 8th year.
And you mean Labor Day weekend, don't you, instead
What
of
did I
Memorial?
say?
Yes, Labor Day weekend.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was me.
Labor Day weekend.
Because I just went to it and I thought,
During
I
the
know I'm losing my
Blackberry
mind.
No, that's me. I always
Yeah.
get those.
I do too,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. So Labor Day weekend, we're looking. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Terry.
Is you ready to place?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we're not quite ready for you yet, though.
Okay, I'll be out here.
Thank
Super.
you.
We're looking to continue to grow that event. This year, we had some, we had about 15, no, we had about 12 restaurants, I think. But we get boatloads of people coming in for that, literally coming across the water, unloading. So that's an event, where we're really working in conjunction with the Blackberry Festival going on. And then we've got a beer garden and music, and that's a well-established event. And then a new event from this year was the Art and Antique Festival, and that's going on in conjunction with the Chris Craft Rendezvous, which will be in its 29th year this coming year. And that's just a super popular boat festival. You know, boaters are coming in from all over for that. And we were in danger of losing that, losing the Chris Craft Festival, the Chris Craft Rendezvous, and so the Bay Street Association did not want that to happen. So we came in and worked with the port to put on something additional for the boaters to do while they were in town. They had a lot of negative feedback from the previous year. And the port, Kathy Garcia, has been very positive about how the boaters felt about what happened this year. They really felt a lot better about what was happening in Port Orchard and just the feeling in the town, and I think they felt more honored, and a lot more people came, way more people came down and looked at their boats than had in the previous couple of years, so we want to continue to grow that. We had great feedback from our vendors.
That's an important weekend.
Yeah, that's a midsummer weekend. It's a big tourist weekend. And it's a perfect match with an art and antique festival because those are the antique wooden boats.
Yes.
And it was a good fit. And then Chimes and Lights. So the city sponsors the Chimes and Lights Festival, but the Bay Street Association puts up the lights for the Chimes and Lights downtown. And we also promote our downtown merchants.
We do the color contest with the windows and try to help bring people in for Chimes and Lights. And
a lot of the lights, so some of the lights downtown are Bay Street Association lights for Chimes and Lights. We put up all of the icicle lights on the marquee. So that would be covering the cost of that. So those are our events, and so this budget kind of covers the events themselves, and then equipment for the events, and then advertising for the events.
So can you address the discrepancy here where we've got net loss of all the events together is, comes in at, I don't know, what does it come in at? $10,000, $12,000, 13 maybe, and you're asking for 24. So,
What do you mean?
I didn't put the LTAC money as part of the income.
Yeah.
And the income that I put in there
mhm.
isn't something that we know that we're gonna have, it's something that the sponsorships, you never know if someone's actually gonna give you one or not. So I put historically what we've gotten
Mhm.
as the sponsorships. I didn't put the LTAC in, and I should have.
Right.
So
No,
then it
that's
would've
okay. No,
balanced.
it's just that, if everything was the same, you'd lose $14,000.
Yes,
is
if
what
we
it boils
didn't, if
down
we
to.
didn't, if we
If you
didn't
didn't
get the
get
LTAC money, we wouldn't be able to do it.
Right. But you're asking for 24,000 in LTAC when you really only need 14.
No, because I don't know that we're gonna
assuming
get.
that you get the
Right,
sponsorships.
and that was the thing, we just don't know whether we're gonna get any of those sponsorships. Or we projected 25 registrations, but if only 10 people register. That was the problem I had with that first table or the second table that you had. I couldn't
Mhm.
figure out
Mhm.
how to correctly say how much money we needed.
So you're asking, assuming you get nothing from nobody.
Right, and if we
Okay.
don't, if we do, then we will apply it accordingly.
Can you explain the 3,000 for the beer garden? What does that do for you?
That is the
Expenses of setting it up? Or?
expense of setting it up and
Okay.
buying everything. If we ran the beer garden, we'd assume that we would get, we assumed we'd get $2,000 in income from the beer garden.
Okay.
How do you guys do the taste?
We don't know.
I'm not sure.
don't know yet.
Yeah, because that wasn't.
We didn't do it, and no one's made any sort of donation.
which is why we want to start.
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of revenue there.
Yeah.
We could capture the.
So the
Oh, and
expense
that's
will be on
3 beer gardens,
canopies.
Fred. The 3,000 is 3 beer gardens.
Yeah, it's for a beer garden at Art and Antique, it's for a beer garden at the
So we're
Flower
assuming
Festival.
$1,000
And a
to
beer
run
garden
it
at
and
Taste.
$2,000 in, so $1,000 net for each one.
Yeah, because you guys will need to buy tents
Yes.
and chairs and all
Right,
that
we'd
kind
have to
of
rent
stuff.
that kind of stuff and
Or-
and get
or
the
buy it,
liquor
yeah.
Well, for
and-
Taste, you guys had to rent all that stuff anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a, and
And
the cost of
borrow.
insurance is gonna be a lot higher.
and the cost of insurance is about $500 an event.
Yeah. But we're missing out on a big potential income source.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys need to add a few events.
I love events. And that's the thing, you know, our downtown is great, but on its own, without the events to boost it, it doesn't draw the tourists in that. And with these events, you're drawing tourists in that are seeing the town for the event, and then they'll come back later, hopefully, year after year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I try to open this app. Watch me. Yeah, I know.
That's not good. Access it to Facebook.
I can't.
Not at
It
all.
won't let me, no. I tried that, because you can click on this and then click up here,
Mhm.
and it's the exact same thing.
I think you've worn out the messenger button, Sheila.
You think?
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, everybody's the same thing. It's that section, that table where you have to fill out how much money you want and the other money you have coming in. And
But I don't think that's, I agree that it's confusing.
It is
a
so
hot seat?
But
It is.
it's not supposed to be.
No.
Okay, and now we have Terry Bontrager with the Saints Car Club.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm Lorraine.
Lorraine, Terry.
Hi, Terry, I'm Sheila.
Hi,
Hey, I'm Matt.
hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Janine with the city. Hello.
And I'm
Fred Chang.
Okay.
Okay, we understand that we have your application for the cruise,
Uh-huh.
and the amount of funding requested is $2,300. And it looks like it's going to marketing and promotion.
And mostly, it's going to, the newspapers and the notification, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
I guess that would be marketing.
Let's see. Okay, and we have your budget on the last page, which is always very meticulous. Do you guys have any questions?
Were you going to the
Oh.
budget there and ask a question there?
I can't read it.
Oh, okay.
Any questions?
Yeah,
So, thank you for your application. And I was wondering about the question here that says, please describe how you'll measure the impact of your event and, or your project will have on tourism. And I was wondering how you organize this information. The application talks about coming from talking with participants and visitors. Do you have, like, everybody asks the visitors the same questions and you write those down? Or how's that information organized? And
It's just,
we know it's a really hard thing
It's
to
just
do.
our guys talking with people that they're introduced to from out of town or know,
Nice.
And we have a meeting afterwards and kind of talk about it, has anything changed? And people will say, yeah, we had 3 guys from California and he's bringing 4 with him next year. News like that is good.
Yes, it is. So you get a sense of who's from out of state.
We're getting a lot of out of the basic area. I haven't got we haven't finished the paperwork for this last year. We've had some difficulties with health issues for some people. So we're backed up. So I haven't got the exact figures, but it looks like it's close in how many come from out of town this year versus last year.
Good.
And we have an information table, a registration table, and a lot of people come up and ask us different questions, and we're able to tell them, what the other events are during the year, and at the marina and on the street and in the area. And they seem to like that. So I'm sure some of those people have come back because they sounded really enthusiastic about it when we told them.
Good.
So, yeah, it's a hard thing to pin down because we don't have anybody that comes that pays except the car drivers themselves. So all the spectators, there's no interface with them, no way to have them fill out anything. It's really a difficult issue, which we do the best we can.
Yes, it sounds like it. Thank you.
Do you remember how many applicants there were for this year?
The 373 registrations, and about 15 of those were gift registrations, so it'd probably be 350,
Okay.
360, somewhere in there. And that's at
That's a nice
$15 a head. We're also looking at possibly next year going to $20 instead of $15, because we lost quite a bit of money this year in some of our aspects. So we're taking money out of our rainy day fund to make it up. But as you know, we had a monsoon in the middle of the day. We had 71 days of sunshine before it and 19 days of sunshine after it.
Yep.
So things like we do a 50-50 lottery drawing, and we only had about $300 in that, and usually we have $1,200–1,300.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And our regular raffles, we're usually at least $1,500 on our regular raffles, and I think between the 3 of them, we were down to around $600 is all we took in. So we lost some income, and then we lost a huge bunch of opportunity to sell T-shirts and stuff. So we've got a lot of T-shirts left over. We gotta sell in the secondary market somehow, make up the difference. And of course, our big whammy was the state of Washington dancing us around for 5 months, finally giving us at the last minute a go-ahead of what they really wanted in taxes or insurance. So we took out a $3,200 policy for one day to satisfy them.
$3,200? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, it's $3,200 between the two. Actually, we had to get 2 additional policies to satisfy the state. So it's
What agency did you end up using for that?
Pardon?
Who ended up issuing those riders? What insurance company?
I don't remember who was the carrier on it. I can find out for you if you want to know.
Was that event
I think the carrier was different than, I think Fathoms went to a different carrier for their,
Fathom had the insurance all along. They just didn't know it. So that's, yeah.
They had insurance, but they didn't have the right
No,
level.
they did. They did.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did.
So they didn't have any extra cost?
No.
Oh, well, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put out about, I don't know, it must have been around $4,000 just in insurance this year. I think we're getting some back on one policy, but I don't know how much it is. It's probably just a token.
But now you've got a whole year to research it and get better.
Yeah, well, the biggest problem is the state won't talk to you until 60 days before your due date. And that's where we started calling them in January because we filed the paperwork for the event in January at the clerk's office, and they told us about the state involvement. So we went to the state involvement, and they ignored all of our calls and contacts up until 2 months before the event, and then we had to work. One of our guys was driving up back and forth to Olympia to find out what they needed, and then 3 weeks before the event, the lady that was finally handling it for us went on vacation to Eastern Washington, and she didn't set her computer up right for call forward. So we were in the dark for up to 5 days before the event. We had, yeah, it was a zoo.
Well,
Hopefully
I told Roger, because Roger came in and talked, and if you have problems like that, you need to come see us earlier. So next year.
Yeah. See, we don't know if we didn't know we had any kind of a problem until
Yeah,
that was like 7 weeks before the event.
yeah.
And then we were running around trying to figure it out, and we thought we had it solved twice, and then we didn't. Yeah, it was a mess. We got through it.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
So this year's event got rained on in more than one way, it sounds like.
Yeah, we had a lot of things that went up in price, and we had a loss of probably 250 cars. So, and along with that is the people who do the raffles and buy the t-shirts. So we had multiple down things, yeah.
Well, I think it was still a very successful event, just a little smaller this year maybe. Okay, any other questions? Okay.
Thank you very much. You covered everything really well.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
well, I appreciate your time and assistance in helping us put this on. I know it sounds like it's beneficial for the city all the way around, so
It's
we're
one of our
glad
favorite events.
to help. Plus any extra dollars we have, we donate.
Yeah. Thank you for having it downtown
Helpline
too.
and that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good
Terry.
evening.
Okay. All right. All right.
Can you help with that insurance thing?
I called the state, I got her at the first try. I got a letter from her saying exactly what she needed. Everybody was so confused at what they needed, and it was pretty simple. Because technically,
But can you help them
Yeah.
though? Do that? Okay, good.
I did. But see, technically, if they don't have the insurance that the state needed, they don't have the insurance to qualify for the for the city contract. So we can't give them money if they don't have that insurance. Shouldn't have been giving them money all along, because it's right in the contract that they were supposed to provide the clerk's office with the proof of that insurance.
But does it really cost that much?
No, well, their kicker was, and their issue was, so what they needed is they needed non-owned vehicle insurance, which means basically, if Janine takes her own car at 3 o'clock to go to the post office, like that never happens, right? I don't know, maybe you have a company car. You take the city car.
Hi there.
But if you got into an accident as a result, they could sue the city. Because you're on city time. So the theory is that if you were on
Yeah, I was there.
cruise business,
That was there.
so they happen and they
I'm trying
can
to
sue.
switch it back.
But
and
that's a
forth,
policy.
because Permit takes a long
see.
time.
Yeah, but it was like $200 the chamber to add to the chamber. Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
It is. Before Sheila gets back, I got a question for you, Chris.
Yeah,
The sign on the highway, is that included in here?
yes.
Okay, I didn't see it, and so I was like,
I
holy
thought it was in
cow.
there.
I thought it was in there.
I read somewhere that it was in there.
Okay, good. Then it's just me. Like I've never made a mistake before, so. What are you looking at me like?
Well, I was gonna say, I forgot ribbons, so I can say the
Okay, let me find.
I don't know who was supposed to remember that.
Okay, and now we have Luella and Chris from the Sydney Museum.
Do you know Luella? Okay, everybody knows
I
Luella?
know, I'm Lorraine Olson from Mrs. House Bed and Breakfast.
Nice to meet you.
Luella Hohenstein is on our board.
I'm Janine with the city. Nice to meet you.
She is our vice president, and with Bobby out of town, she's our acting president.
Nice, thank you.
So, the City Museum and Arts Association has been an organization here in Port Orchard since 1972. It is both an art and a historic center. It is a cultural center for Port Orchard. We have 2 museums. We have an art gallery. We do monthly art shows that bring people from all over. The Sydney Gallery building is the original Masonic Hall, and it's on the National Historic Register as well as the State Historic Register. So we also get people who track national historic sites. There are people that go around and check them off their bucket list. So we get people like that. We were also in the Debbie Bacomer books as Harbor Street Gallery, I think. So we still get a few Debbie Bacomer fans who come in looking for Debbie Bacomer sites. The application that I've submitted is just straight marketing. It is for advertising in the Art Access magazine, which is distributed from Vancouver to Portland. And it is for the website, and it is for the sign on the highway, and it is for marketing outside of the city. It isn't designed, the application isn't designed for our local, come to the artist reception in the Port Orchard Independent. We put an ad in the Discover Kitsap magazine. We will potentially partner with Explore Port Orchard for some Destination Washington marketing for some of the bigger events, like the 50th year for the Helen Norris Open Art Show, which brings artists from the Canadian border down through Portland. We get artists from all over for that show. So it's for that type of advertising, to bring people from out of the area to town.
That's okay. I'm sorry. That's all right.
Okay. So just so you know, Lorraine, when Explore Port Orchard subscribes to the Destination Washington, that's what gives POPSA and the Art Museum the opportunity to advertise in them at reduced rates. So it's something that, we only need one membership, and that's in the Explore Port Orchard budget. And then everybody else can basically piggyback on that to get a reduced rate for their specific events. So when I said Explore Port Orchard doesn't necessarily do specifics, we make it, available for the other organizations.
It's a really nice opportunity. They have a really cool email list that goes out to 100,000 people. They have, it's the Washington State Tourism Association.
If there was an official tourism.
If there was an official, that would be it. It was originally the official one before this legislature cut that off. And they're working hard to be reinstated as the official Washington State Tourism. And they do both print and website. So we're pretty excited about that.
And Now, I might be getting this confused, but this is the exciting part of being in a small town. So earlier, in the Port Orchard Bay Street Association, you were talking about the Art Access
Mhm.
magazine too. So is this, are you
It's
advertising?
a separate ad, so I do an ad, not every time for the Bay Street Association, only when there's an art-related something going on.
Okay.
But for the Sydney Museum and the Art Gallery, I do one it comes out every other month. And I do the Sydney Gallery shows, the 2 shows in that period
Okay.
for every Art Access magazine.
So then in an Art Access magazine, there might be 2 ads
Right, there'll be
for
one
Port
for,
Orchard?
like, there'll be Art and Antique, and then there'll be the Sydney show.
Okay,
And it's 2 separate accounts.
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
I haven't figured out a way to combine them yet.
No, that's fine. Just really trying to understand, so thank you.
And it's the same with the Country Register. So I'll advertise the Sydney shows or just the Sydney Museum, and that because people look at that newspaper, like museums and like to come to art type things. So again, it's 2 separate ads and it's 2 separate accounts.
And I think the Country Register, don't they have like special editions too?
Mhm.
You know, they'll do just a quilt.
They'll do just antiques, they'll
Yeah.
do just quilts, they'll do just Christmas stuff, they'll do, and it's, the people there at the Country Register say a lot of times they get someone who's planning a trip saying, okay, what's your theme? Because I need to get the magazine so I can figure out where I'm gonna go. So, and that one is just very cool because it's a color ad for $180. That's a half a page.
Nice.
Can't beat the price.
How much is the Broad Sign?
$699.
A year?
Mhm.
That all? Wow.
So this part there was nothing in this part about,
It's just advertising, so there's no
there's no other matching funds?
there's
or
no
anything?
grant funding that I've asked for. There's no sponsorships that come in. There wasn't anything for me to put. It's not like I
Okay.
asked. We've asked Kitsap Bank for funding for various things in the past, and we just never get it. So there wasn't anything to put there.
Okay, thanks.
I have an idea suggestion when we're done. Or I'll just tell you now. I know you guys have lots of ideas for exhibits, and I like the way that you change them every month, but how about something about Debbie Maycomber artwork for her books? Like all the originals that she's, you guys think about it on your board, see if there's an interest, because I think she has a following. I haven't kept track of, the Cedar Cove series, the other series, whatever, but maybe, think about maybe an exhibit of the different artwork for the books or something. And maybe it could tie in with your next Historic Homes tour, the next time you do it, because she has actually incorporated a lot of historic homes into her artwork for her books. Might be interesting to compare it.
We will certainly take it under consideration.
Yeah, see how your board would probably like that better than some of the other ideas I've
I hear they're looking for board members though, Fred, so if you want to step on up.
I mean, I also like your modern art ideas.
Maybe I can get the local artist to redraw her covers.
Yeah, that might be fun too.
That might be a fun show.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
But we will certainly take it under advisement.
It's just a suggestion. And do we have any other more questions? No? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Christine, did you get the mirror hung?
I'm sorry?
The mirror, is it hung?
Not yet. It's gonna go upstairs in our pharmacy.
Okay.
Although, somebody donated to us, Jerry Bruckert's daughter, the other day, gave us a call and said that she had this old picture she wanted to give us. And she came down and she said, it's pretty big. And so she brought it in. It's Peter Storseth. It is the original mural that hung in the Port Orchard Tavern. So I'm thinking we can do, we need to get it cleaned up, but we can do that and then put the Moondogs mirror up there next to it and sort of do that whole story.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Very good.
But for right now, it's going to go in the pharmacy.
Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, it was nice to meet you.
Thank you, it's nice meeting you too.
She talked about it. You talked to her about it, so it's hers.
Look, it went away.
I was so worried that I had caused a stain on the table.
Oh gosh, no.
I was like, oh my gosh.
I thought about that. I was going to put one on my price list, but I thought, no, I'm not going to risk that. I don't know. She'll live with the shame
Trust me.
for generations.
I'm gonna feel very bad.
And then we're going to write here, this stain was.
Sheila was here.
Oh.
We should set a timer. How much time does she have?
15 minutes.
15? I'm going to say, just so that you know, we're starting to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are we at on time? 3:36.
Yeah.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
Hello.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
This way. Your number. Oh,
Hi.
hi, sweetie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. So maybe what I'll do is till she gets back, I'm trying not to kill too many trees. So I only did 3 packets. And then, you keep that one, and
We
you
can
guys
share.
can have it, and then you guys share. And then when I thought, depending what you want to do, you can keep one, you can keep them all if you want, but if you don't want to keep the paper, you can keep one full set as part of the record.
Okay.
But I wanted to be able to have you be able to go through it, and it's, so it's the same materials that we've been using with our other presentations. So, all right. Oh, you know what? I'm terrible. I need one.
Okay.
So maybe I'll share this with her. I'm thinking, what am I doing? Usually I have my own, but it's warm. It's nice. Nice in here. So how are you guys doing?
Good.
It's the end of the season. But it looks like we're gonna have 80-degree weather next weekend.
Depends on which season you're talking about.
We are.
Yeah. It's gonna go back up to 76, 78 on Wednesday, Thursday, and then hit high 70s next weekend.
That's too hot.
And I already just spent all night last night putting away all of my summer clothes and getting out my
Yeah, I
winter
almost put the air
clothes.
conditioner away.
We planted to do grass last weekend, the weekend before last, and so I need some
that'll
germination
be good
weather.
for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you're gonna have it. It's gonna
It's germinated. It
You
just needs
you know
some
what?
storage
It's
weather.
going to be rainy through Wednesday, and it's 69, 64. Then and then after Wednesday, then it goes like 76 or something. So it's good because it'll be all wet and then steam. So that should do the germination.
Plus, we use the Tacoma crap for
Oh, you do?
For-
The sludge?
the
Yeah.
pig grout. Yeah,
Yeah.
stinks like I'll get out, but that
Yeah.
stuff grows in it. So,
Cool.
all right, I got the clock.
Cool. Yeah, I got the, I'm a meter. Okay, so you and I are sharing this packet.
Okay, perfect.
And so, and what it is they're sample materials and stuff. So anyway, I'm here. I think this is like my 9th year, you guys. I can't I don't even want to think about it, but anyway, so I'm actually just applying for the same amount of money as last year to continue doing the same things that we've been doing. So what I wanted to do was give you a little bit of a recap of what that is, which is primarily, and this year, for the first year in like 5 years, we're actually presenting to Bainbridge Island, I'm happy to report, is that our mission is really to provide another sales channel for you that would be supportive of other marketing activities that you may be doing locally. Okay, so we feel that we can provide you with a really affordable turnkey opportunities to just advertise in publications that you yourselves probably would not be able to do or afford, but because we're able to take the money we get from you, from Paulsbo, from Bremerton, and the county, and leverage it to buy ads that benefit everybody. And in all the ads, we do not include days, but we do include the Comfort Inn, and then we also have now started to include information about Airbnbs and NBNBs, i.e. that we're not just selling the hotels. Okay, so we're really, and then I talked to Lee, or the county, and they said that they are collecting, there is now a thing with VRBOs, VRBOs are now technically supposed to be turning their money over to the state, and then the state reimburses it. It's supposed to be automatic, and then VRBOs are now going to do what Airbnbs were doing, which is they're going to be responsible for collecting the funds versus the lodging establishment. And then, so anyway, that's I think particularly in areas like South Kitsap, that selling other lodging options besides just the hotels is really going to be really important, because we do actually have a limited number of hotels, and some of the hotels have been reporting 80% capacity, especially during the summer, so alternate. So anyway, your first little packet here, and I'll hand this to you so you can look at it. These are just a myriad copies of ads. These are half-page ads that we run in various publications. These ones, so they're identified. This one happens to be in Northwest Travel, which is this publication. So we're buying pretty high-end publications. These are like, I think this is $1,800, and then we also buy Seattle Magazine. We also buy Seattle Gay News, which is very popular. We also buy this is called Real Networks, and this is this publication. And on Real Networks, which you'll see in your packet, we instituted in May. We started using the ads to promote very specific events happening in that month, and so we include Port Orchard events in those ads. And then, so those are your ads. And we've done big ads. This was a very big national ad that we ran in outdoor adventure that includes Port Orchard, and it includes, it was targeting outdoor recreation. So, but you were included as far as lodging. This flyer we just did this last week, and this was with the UK, with the Port of Seattle, another UK mission, and then we're one of the few people that get to go in front of, like 15 high-end tour and cruise operators, and so we passed out this flyer, and so Port Orchard's on there as one of the cities, and then also the hotel. So this goes to international, so that's international coverage we provide. These are in golf. We do golf. Golf is very popular, and so we run, and these are very affordable, and these are out of state again, Vancouver, Canada, so you're getting some nice press on that with your, we're always running your hotel. And then, so here we were in the Boeing Classic, I think this is about $1,000. But we always get really good placement because we work with the Gallup Seattle magazine. So here we have McCormick Woods, and then again your hotel. So all the ads pretty much that we're doing. This ad just came out. We always get page 4. They love us. And so Seattle Magazine is our demo, but this is a picture I took of your bridge. So we thought that was really cool.
That is a great
The Weathersfield
bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah, so we just thought it was really pretty. And so that's what we're really selling. This one is a little breathing room. So that's really a lot of what we're selling. So I just want to show you, these are the kinds of publications. This ad is $2,200 a month to run that, but we get page 4, which is a premium rate, and we don't pay any extra for that. And they love us, and Russell Steele from the Clearwater Casinos, everybody's in this magazine. If you don't get this magazine, it's just fun to pick it up and read it, but you can see by looking through it, it's such a high-end demo, and that's who we're targeting for you guys and for the whole county. This is where we partner with Kitsap Sound Publishing, and I know you folks like to do that, but we've been really working closely with them, and we're going to be working with them a little bit more on editorial. But they put the National Water Trails in there for us at no charge. We provide the artwork, a regional map that has Port Orchard, and then we pay for the ads. There's a 2/3 page ad in here and stuff. So, and then smaller ads, and then we're in lots of other publications like West Sound and different things like that that they run. So those are the higher end publications. Then we also have all of our social media, which is we ran a thing for the car cruise that reached 14,000 people reached, and we pay for those are paid boosts. One we did for Sam for vintage for Samantha's event, and it was in the fairgrounds, was 51,000. People really loved that. People really love that repurposed stuff. That's a really good market for you guys. I noticed you have downtown. That's a very hot market. So, and then of course you're part of the water trails, and we got a grant from Kitsap County. It was a pass-through. It went all to it went directly to all the web people. But we now have a dedicated website for the water trails, and then we also have a fabulous new interactive map that includes information about all your different water trails locations, including ones in Port Orchard and South Kitsap. This thing in your packet, I wanted to share it. This is through January through about a month ago, I think. These are from July 31st, 7 months. I get these every month, about 200 of them, and on the back is a little picture, and we mail out these at at 88 cents each with a little thank you on here. And the reason I wanted you to look, they're from all over. They're all over the United States. We pay $1,200 a year for this third-party service, and they give us these referrals. So we include this. But by the time this thing actually costs us a couple dollars, and then at 88 cents of postage. So by the time you figure the envelope and time, it's about $3. But so we mail those out, and they have, Port Orchard listed, and they have the bike route listed. So you're included in that, and so and then we have the e-newsletter that goes out every couple months. That's 13,000 people, and we always are including events that are happening in Port Orchard. And then our most recent marketing effort, are all these great little rack cards, which we love, and that we just provide to the hotels and also to the museums themselves. But if you look through them, so again, we always use the Peninsula map. And then you folks are on, the only one you're not on is garden. And the only reason is we didn't have a touring garden in South Kitsap, believe it or not.
You don't on Orlando.
No, they're on here, but
Oh,
they
they're
have an address of Bremerton.
Oh.
They're actually owned by the city of Bremerton, that land. It used to be a dump, and then Alondon reclaimed it and turned it into a garden. So that's the only one, and then almost ready to go to press are art galleries. I think there's a couple more, but anyway, people just really love these. So we pay for the design, everything. So you're on all these cards, and then they are made available to the hotels, but then we're also one of the things we're really trying to do is have the different sectors, the museums, help cross-sell each other. So from Bremerton and Bainbridge and Paulsville they're all cross-selling each other. So we're trying to make sure, help people get these. And this is Kitsap Loves Kids, which is a whole thing parents can do for kids. And that we included the playgrounds. So we included your playground, we included the one in Evergreen Park. And then Sheila, on the October, I don't know if it's on there, but on the October, we did a save the date, and I included Jingle Bell.
I saw that, thank you.
Sign up for that. Now, one of the other things, real focus we have is unused vacation days, and I think I may have mentioned that at a previous meeting, but I had after I was telling somebody I was doing that, then on August 4th, I saw this article in Puget Sound Business Journal which talked about how much revenue is unused, the loss to the economy because people aren't spending their vacation. So, we were running these ads. This one was July 9th. We ran this ad before this article came out that says have unused vacation days, which we thought was sort of nice. So we're on target with that. And so again, I think that's a perfect perfect for you. So, and then we have the water trails, which are featured in, and then of course this. So that's pretty much what we're going to continue doing in 2018 to provide support and support the events as we, are, based on input that we get from you. So do you have any questions that I can answer?
How often do you guys update your Facebook page? And what kind of
It's all
is
the
that
time.
guys? So on a daily basis?
We're
or-
like 70, last time I looked, we were like, I think, we're over 75, I think we're almost 7,600 now.
Okay.
And, no, it's constant. I pay somebody about $2,000 a month that's all they do is the blog,
and they
the
post-
blogs,
okay.
Facebook, everything. And actually, I have another person, Kathy, because I don't have paid staff. I'm desperate to try and find somebody this year, but the reality is that's 50, 60,000. So I'm using contractors. So I have Kathy who does the calendar. She works out of her home, which is fine. She just does it any time. But then people post things to the calendar, and then she approves them and double checks. And then she actually does her own research, because we find that a lot of smaller organizations are, we need to get the information sooner than later, and we, and especially because we do our blog posts, and then we post the blogs to the Facebook, because we're trying to get people to get away for the weekend, and if we do it the day of the event, it doesn't help. So we actually have a list of probably about 30 websites that we go to, like all the museums, because a lot of the stuff, even like at the Naval Museum, the Undersea, they have some really fun, interesting kid programs. That's one of the things we really look for, are things that'll bring parents over here because there's something kind of unusual going on. We're coming up, there are all the salmon habitat tours, that are being done by WSU, and different, actually some of the cities are doing those, and that's a big attraction. So, and we don't do a huge amount on Twitter. One of the new things we will be doing though for 2008, Twitter is timely. I mean, and our thing is, if it's like, hey, there's a great band playing right now. Well, that's great if you're local. So, but one of the things we are going to be investing quite a bit more time and effort in is Instagram. Instagram has really come a long way, and the thing is, it's a little less conversationally and a lot more about pictures and photos and things, so that makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to be doing a little bit more with that. So pretty much what and sales are up. I mean, in fact, this is, you can have this, I didn't know we did this for Kitsap County, but it's this actually includes this actually includes cities and
Oh.
counties, and then this was for the lodging tax for the county. But we're up overall for accommodations for the county and cities up 36%, or $10 million since 2012. So, I mean, we're rocking. I mean, there's new hotels being built and so, I mean, I think our tourism industry is doing well, so. If there's anything special you think that you would like us to do for Port Orchard, we're certainly happy to, meet and talk about. I mean, right now, we're really just focusing on your scenic routes, biking, coming downtown, etc.
So you're asking for 12,000,
Mhm.
and again, thank you for your application. I didn't see a budget anywhere.
You know what? Oh, that's a really good point. I put it under the deliverables, and I didn't, and what I did was you should have a page of deliverables. Did you not get the deliverables?
Well,
Yeah,
there's-
statement of work and
There's
deliverables.
a general statement here.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And what I do for the billing is I provide them with a breakout of the percentage every month of what your $1,000 goes towards. So it works out to like 4.3% of the overall costs. So you're really just contributing. You're contributing to all of those various activities. So because we don't charge the hotels, we don't charge anybody for being on the map. We don't charge anybody for being on the rack cards. So really, it's just a percentage that we pay for the designers, the ads, everything else. So I know it's challenging for us to give you a budget per se. So what actually it was the city, Port Orchard said, can you give us a percentage of what our 1,000 buys overall? So we picked the marketing categories, and so I include that on my monthly billing. Does that help?
Absolutely, that's
Okay.
perfect. And then on other financial information on here in item D, it says 90% of your annual budget is derived from lodging tax
Yeah.
funds.
Mhm. Yeah, we're a 501c6. We can't collect money for anything.
So, but I thought you had a bigger budget than $12,000 or.
Oh, well, we do, but the point, I guess the point was is that we get some of the people that are applying for funds have other, it usually is depending on which lodging tax is, are you able to get funds from other sources? And so I guess what I was trying to say is that our funding is primarily lodging tax. We don't have an ability to hold a fundraiser or get contributions. The only funds that we get are a business deduction, like MAP, same thing.
So, but what I think maybe you're saying here, you're getting other lodging tax
Oh,
funds,
yes,
like from
absolutely.
Bremerton, and those
Right.
comprise the 90% of your budget.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly. And
gotcha.
then what I'm saying is that thank you, I apologize about that, is that one of the things to avoid competing with Chambers, we don't charge membership dues except to some of the larger hotels, but even Chan doesn't pay us. I've billed them 3 times, But I figure, if we get the lodging tax, we'll just, that he generates a lodging tax, so it's like $700, so I just don't, I don't worry about it. And so we actually are, waiving about $30,000 a year, not collecting membership funds, but the other option is I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to collect $95. And the other reason the board voted to eliminate membership for all nonprofits and smaller businesses, because we can't not have people on the website just because they didn't pay. We don't have that many restaurants, or B&Bs or hotels. So we just decided we wanted everybody, if they thought that their business was going to be an attraction to a visitor, we want them to be on our website. And so we have a mechanism where they can create, get their own login. It's free. They can update their own listing, everything. So.
So, back to the budget for
Uh-huh.
a second. What do other counties do for their tourism? I mean, how do they, what kind of funding do they, because you probably work with or know.
Yeah,
other
absolutely. Well, okay, so
counties.
here's the, one of the unfortunate things that I've not been able to accomplish during my time here was to put in place a TPA, the Tourism Promotion Area, and almost every other county has a TPA. And so like the city of Olympia had a budget of, 500,000, and then they put in place a TPA, and now they have 1.5 million. And so a TPA is earmarked money that is directed by the hoteliers, and it's a separate commission, and those hotels control the money, and then that provides a stable bucket of money that it's not used for nonprofits, it's only used for tourism marketing. And that makes a huge difference. So like South Seattle has a budget of 5 million, and we have really one of the smallest budgets. So that makes a difference on how we spend it. A lot of them have commissions, and it's big staffs, and they do a lot of things. So there's actually 1.5 million available in lodging tax funds in Kitsap County, but it goes to other places. So
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know we're getting short on time
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
so thank you.
In fact, here, this is, Fred, I'll give this to you, it's an updated version, if you want it to answer your questions a little. This is, I'll give you the bigger one. And here, you can have this little one, but this just is a little brief, I'll give that to.
Thank you.
And what that is we try
thank
to
you.
provide
Okay.
that to people so they understand that even though we get a preponderance of the county money, that we use that county money for all of those communities, Silverdale, everybody else, that aren't individual cities. So if you divided what we get up between all those other smaller cities, then we provide the marketing support for them. So anyway, I wanted to thank you all for being here and volunteering on a Friday night.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I brought my date.
Thank you for being here on a Friday night too.
Yeah, so anyway, so if I can answer, and do you want me to leave? If you want, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna leave them, and then if you don't need them and you wanna pack them up and give them to me later, we can do that. All right?
Great.
So thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll go really quick. So just to let you guys know, I almost didn't fill this out this year because the Arthritis Foundation has decided to not allow for a lot of money as far as a line item for advertising. So it makes it very difficult because they want us to try to get everything donated. So if I say, even if I put in my budget that I'm going to spend, say, $2,000 on advertising, they won't let me spend the money even though the money's getting reimbursed. Which makes no sense, really, when you think about it.
Well,
So-
how does it get reimbursed?
Well, like through a lodging tax.
Okay.
Or through, say, if I went out and found a sponsor, which basically LTAC money is, they would not allow me to even spend that money.
The way you
begin
want
with.
to do.
Right.
Yeah, you can't earmark.
Right.
You
I can't
your
earmark.
funds.
I can't earmark that money for advertising. I cannot, or I know it doesn't make any sense. But
Do they let you spend money?
well, let me tell you, Fred, it's getting more difficult every year. They're
So they
cutting
spend
back.
it for you, or
No,
Okay.
no, they don't. But they are what they are trying to do, and like we were talking earlier about social media, and how social media is basically free, except for when you do boosts. They're wanting us to do things more like that.
what do they use the money for that you collect?
Oh well, no. Other things can still be paid for. I mean, like I put on here, and I still am confused by this whole thing as well. So I put on here my overall what I spend money on for the most part are the shirts, the canopies, plus, you know, all the rental things that I have to get and the timing equipment and all of that. So that amounts to approximately $14,500, of which $1,500. And in this amount is my actual line item for advertising is $500. So I sat actually and talked to the Brandy in detail one day about, okay, so what else could I, since my line item only says 500 for actual advertising, what else could I use LTAC money on? So we talked about rack cards, because I have these printed and I travel and I take them to Sequim and Port Angeles and Port Townsend, and last year I even drove all the way out to Forks and took them to the chamber out there and tried to visit with, I stopped by like clinics and the little urgent care that's there and left them in places like that, you know, doctor's offices and anywhere I could, you know, trying to get those people to come this way from you know, from the Olympic Peninsula. So.
But you submit all of your expenses are paid through corporate.
All of my expenses are paid through corporate.
Because I mean, you could, you know, operational expenses like the cost of your canopies could be reimbursable through LTAC.
And that's where my
But
confusion lies.
if you
It's
don't-
like how I don't necessarily see that as something that LTAC should have to reimburse.
Well, no, but see, the
But
thing
if it
is,
frees up other parts of your budget,
well,
so if you use, you're limited on, your organization is limiting you on what you can spend money on. So using the example of the canopies, if that's gonna come out of other funding and, but now you could use that for, you could use LTAC funding, and then maybe that funding that you were gonna use for the canopies, now you can use for something else, if it can free up your budget somewhere.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
yeah,
It does.
And operationally, it's not being selfish because, I mean, you're not skirting, because the RCW says you can use it for the operation of events. So
But see,
it's
I
not
didn't
like-
type that up like, I didn't, this is not worded as using it for operational. I
But the
simply
kicker
put,
is, can you still need to submit an invoice to the city for reimbursement.
yes.
Can you do that?
I can do that, yes, I can do
Okay.
that.
But just, you can't do it for marketing.
I can't I can spend the money on canopies and have that reimbursed. I cannot spend money on advertising over $500. They did give me $500. I asked for $2,000 and they gave me $500. So,
So they're limiting
That's-
your ability to do any marketing.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Unless I get it for free. I can do marketing. It's like I could go to the Port Orchard Independent and ask them, could you please, like, actually, Wet Apple, every year, bless her heart, Dee gives me a full page ad in the West Sound Home and Garden. A full page ad for the Jingle Bell Run. And she does that for free. And I don't have, you know, so
Do you
I
pay
can
any-
do things like that.
Do you pay any police fees?
I cannot remember how much that was.
Well, because see, I mean,
Right
that's,
off the
that's
top of
an,
my head, I
that's an
apologize.
operational expense that, I don't know if there's a way Brandy can just line item the payment of the officer fee from LTAC. Because that is an operational expense. of
But
an
again,
event.
I didn't write this up for operational
Just
expenses
put a
though.
check mark in the other box and then it becomes an operational expense.
But that's my dilemma when it comes to this. And that's why, one thing that, you know,
No, you've done it. Event marketing and operations of events.
but I wrote on here,
Yeah.
everything pertains to marketing.
Okay, well, so what I'm hearing is that the actual marketing costs themselves may be $500 as opposed to $1,500 because of the restraints or the
Well,
constraints they
but
give
then
you.
I do have the cost of things like this.
Okay.
That Brandy said that, yes, because I had in my head, you know, for my spreadsheet, you know, my line items, you know, advertising, marketing, this is not what I necessarily think of. I think of those ads that I went to put in the newspapers. That she said things like this would count,
But-
and that I could request reimbursement for things like this. So
If you have
that helps.
an invoice. You have a
Correct.
paid invoice?
What I receive is we have to put in a ticket to have the invoice paid, and then I get an email back saying, received, pulling for processing. I never receive like a copy of the invoice that is stamped paid.
Yeah.
That's
See,
only.
If Brandy can get
They've
the,
changed so many things. It's hard to keep up with all of the changes.
It's almost like you don't want to be associated with the Arthritic Foundation anymore. It's like, just do your own Jingle Bell Foundation.
You're not the first person that has suggested that to me.
I mean, it doesn't sound like they're helping.
But I have to have a job, Fred.
Oh, okay.
I have to have.
Oh, that's what you do your other time. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
my full-time job.
Okay.
And because I have not only this event, but I have the event over in Renton that I do in
Okay.
May.
Okay.
So yeah, it's my full-time job.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's where I am, and that's why I put on here, and I do get sponsors, but those sponsor dollars basically then pay for everything else, the T-shirts and the timing equipment, the entertainment, the rentals. The awards that we give to participants for their fundraising efforts and everything like that. So, and then as far as, I have zip code reports that I pull. So for me, it's very easy.
Because you have
to say.
registrations to
Right,
pull.
exactly.
Nice.
However, occasionally, how Christine was saying how people don't like to give information, we will have that they live on 1234 Jane Doe Drive in Port Orchard, 98888. You know what I mean? We will occasionally get things like that because people don't want you sending the mail.
Yeah, I'm that way. I don't want to
And they'll put in a
address.
fake email address because it doesn't know it's fake.
Yeah.
So we do get those occasionally. And so when she was saying that, I was like, yeah, people are that way. They really feel like you're going to scam them somehow, or you're going to spam them with, a bunch of emails or snail mail or whatever. So do you guys have any questions for me?
No, I don't.
so you can produce something. My concern is that Brandy and Janine can say yes, but when it gets to the treasurer's office,
They're not going to pay it.
somebody needs,
They're
the
not
city
gonna.
council needs to say if it's approved by the clerk's office, who is in charge of vetting all of this, then the check should be written. Fred.
But it's
Council
a
doesn't need to
national.
micromanage this level of the lodging tax.
No, but I mean, if the treasurer's office won't pay a bill, then what?
It's never come up.
But what are you saying, Matt? Because it's like it's a national. This national organization has established this rule that nobody can spend more than $500. So she can submit something for up to $500.
You have to prove that the money was spent.
Well, of course, yeah, but nothing over $500. And so I was trying to figure out a way, how do they define marketing? Is outreach different than marketing?
They're talking strictly advertising, straight advertising.
Straight advertising.
Putting,
So specific
paying
event-
Patty to put an ad in here.
That's advertising.
Right.
What about the
Right.
thingamajiggers?
These are rack cards that they expect us, because this is more of promotional,
Yeah, that's the word.
So you can use that. So promotional outreach, something like that. So the
Right,
more
so
you
posters
can, the
and-
more you can get into that the outreach, and what
Right.
did you just say? Promotional.
Right.
Then that's separate from the advertising.
But then you're limited with that, though. I mean, what does that include besides rack cards?
To who?
And posters.
Limited to the LTAC or limited to the Arthritis Foundation?
Well, both, really.
No, because I mean, if it's
Just the Arthritis Foundation.
Yeah, Arthritis Foundation seems to be the bottleneck.
So, and so your dilemma is you don't want to make a purchase and then that's over $500 and then submit it to the Arthritis Foundation, even though you're getting reimbursed from the
Well,
city.
they will not.
They won't
asked-
allow you.
I said, I went to the top and I said, because this year, for this year's event, I was awarded $2,000 from LTAC. And they went through and they made this announcement that no one was going to get an increased advertising budget. And they were actually looking at certain events. Because I have a small event, I guess they thought $2,000. Because I put a line item of $2,000 knowing I received $2,000 from LTAC. And I'm thinking, oh yes, this is great. I could do all kinds of advertising, right? And they went through and they cut it down to 500. So I can't, even though I said to them, I'm like, Rick, and he's like the top, I said, I am going to get reimbursed. I'm going to spend the money, but then I'm getting the money. You know, and he said, no, which makes no sense.
Mm-mm.
Why would you take that away when you know it's not,
Do you do like a?
I just don't understand.
Do you do a mailing or something out to the registrant, the applicants from last year?
We do more email. It's
More email.
We don't use postcards and things like that hardly at all anymore.
So I was wondering if you reached out to previous ones, that would just be sending out registrations and not really advertisement, or would it? But you don't have a cost in doing that if you're using email anyway.
So
That's really weird. So
Yeah.
Well, I think you should just spend the 500, and then after they find that they're paying it but they're reimbursed and there's no net cost to them,
Right.
you can just say, we were allowed to spend 4 times this amount, but I was not authorized. And,
Right.
unless you spend it on other things like your
Well,
rec
right.
cards.
Like, and that's so my 1,500 that's on here includes 500 of actual advertising, and then $1,000 of things like this. You know, the posters and my rec cards and.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
That
So-
makes sense.
So I tried. Yeah, and like I said, I talked to Brandy for a long time one day about, okay, how are we going to make this work, Brandy? So, anyway.
So you have a plan for the 1,500, even though it doesn't reflect it exactly in here.
Right. It won't be direct. Yes. So the answer is yes.
Good.
Okay. Well, I guess there's no more questions on that one. Janine, are you representing the city?
I am.
Okay.
And don't we have one more from Matt too?
Oh,
Okay.
did you wanna go
Okay.
first?
Go back to the chamber.
So, if you can find the last one, you should only have a couple left here, so.
I think I combined
The-
it. Which one is it?
Is it the 8,000
Yep,
one?
mhm,
Okay.
that's it. So, since time began, the Chamber of Commerce fields the phone calls, they get the visitors to come into the office. We mail out all kinds of stuff. I mean, you wouldn't think people do that anymore, but they do. They call us, they email us requesting information be sent back. Sent them, I'm gonna come to your area and can you send us some stuff? So we do that, and then we also have the portorchard.com website, and here's some statistics on that.
Thank you.
You know, that just kind of shows, you know, so from September to September, we had 177,000 hits on the portorchard.com website. And I just did a quick breakdown here. And amazingly on those, and I can't even read it, what it says there in the blue, 14%? 14%? So 14% of the hits that came originated from Port Orchard. 20% came from Seattle, and the 86% represents the hits that come from, you know, with outside of this general area. So I thought that was interesting. And then if you look at the next one, it also shows that 81% of the activity generated by the website comes from outside of Washington State.
And are those what do you call it? If I'm new to the website and I click on it, and then but I come back in tomorrow and I click on it again,
Well, that's what
Visitors?
That's the next one here shows how many of the hits are new versus returning. So we've got 22. Yeah, of those
Okay.
177, 22% of them have come to us the first time, 77%, it's their subsequent visit to the website. And then the last graph I put on there is just for the heck of it, was the search origin, which shows whether or not somebody specifically typed in www.portorchard, which represents the 17% red, versus punched in something like anything in Port Orchard. They could have been looking for the city hall, or they could have been looking for lodging in Port Orchard, fishing in Port Orchard, shopping in Port Orchard. And that shows that 76, that would say 76, 76% of the people just put in something in Port Orchard. They weren't looking specifically for us. And then the 4% came off of social media, so they came directly from a social media site to our site, and that 3% represents other stuff like emails, where we've got links in our emails and stuff like that. So part of the a major portion of the ask is it boils down to about $150 a month to pay for a portion of this, because our website costs about $300 a month to maintain, and $150 a month is represented in part of our LTAC request, as well as 20% of our internet, 20% of our copier lease, and 20% of our, what's the last thing? I know Janine and I talk about this every time I submit something. What is the other 20%? And website is 50%, internet is 20%, the copier machine is 20%. It represents a portion of the postage, 25% of our office supply fees, and then we've built in $5,000 for the staff time to yak with the people and stuff the envelopes and mail the stuff out. So that's where the $8,463 comes from. And then when you look at the application, there's the in-kind expenses. So that's where you've got probably roughly the total cost of the operations for this piece of the chamber business is about $16,000. We're asking for $8,400 to be reimbursed, and then the chamber will, in kind, picks up the other $8,000 in expenses.
So is the website, that's not the city of Port Orchard?
Nope,
that's the chamber website, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the city is, I think, Port Orchard.
It's the city of Port Orchard, I think, or something like that.
City of Port Orchard.
It's different,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is so amazing that you can track this.
Oh, it is. We can get down to, the analytics that you can pull off and stuff like this is pretty amazing.
Wow.
So, I don't know if I can track where they came from. I can track how many pages, what page they went to first, and then what page they went to second, how long they were on a particular page, things like that. It's just.
And how do you use this for your decision making in your organization?
Right now, it is what it is. I mean, this particular information, where people come from, we use it for presentations, to convince people that, hey, it's worth spending $100 a month
to get members.
To our website, to know that 177,000 people visited our website, and that for $100, what is that? Over 10, 12, 15, 14, 15, 16,000 people a month. And I can sell you a banner ad on my website for $100, and you're going to get 16,000 visits.
Good.
There's that type of stuff. Some of the other stuff I use for the county request. How many people, because the county wants to know, more on how many people come from 50+ miles. Because I can tell you how many people came from Lakewood. I can tell you how many people came from Camas.
That's really amazing.
I can tell you that when you look at the people that have Googled you from St. Petersburg, that's more or less some type of IP spoofing. That it's not like I had 145 people actually research me from St. Petersburg. Maybe we did. I don't know. but it, you know, it helps us, you know that our website is being used and being
Definitely.
successful.
Definitely.
And then, you know, we also, so then we've got, you know, the thing that Christine said about the WordPress website, we have a second website, which I don't have statistics for, because it's basically, it's where we go to it, you know, you come to our site to find out about the golf tournament, and it'll send you to that other site, because the WordPress stuff is so much easier to use. Just like with the city, I don't know what your thing is now, but it's a lot easier for the city to update their information now than it was, you know, before they brought in the new website. So it's things like that, and you know, we can tell how many people are clicking on what. So
Nice. Thank
So-
you. Thank you.
it is valuable. Do you guys have a website? Does your business have a website?
Yes.
Okay. Can you track this information?
Yeah,
You probably
we
could.
could.
Yeah, you should take a look at it. Yeah, because for you, for you, knowing that 60% of your business was Googling you from Seattle, you know, you could say, yeah, I'm going to advertise in the Seattle market more. You know, or if you had an exuberant amount of people searching for you from Portland, you know that Portland's an important market for you. Yeah, we're focused
But you
here.
need to get on Facebook.
I am so busy right now. I can't even imagine doing any more advertising. So, but thank you.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, then I'm done.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Okay.
last one. So it's for the summer Footberry additional services. Typically, it runs from Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekends. And let's see here. And we get counts from Kids Up Harbor Tours, who we partner with. I did bring those. Usually we have a spreadsheet, but we got these a little bit later. So I brought these just in case anybody wants to take a look at them. It just kind of
Did it
gives
have
a
Labor Day weekend on
breakdown.
them? Are they
Is
there
this
yet?
this year? This summer?
This summer,
Oh,
yes.
nice.
Yeah, so it is from May 27th through, Labor Day weekend is on there. If you just want to.
Was it
check
increased
those
from
out.
last year?
That we're still getting some of the
Still
information.
analyzed,
Yeah,
okay.
yep. And so we're looking for 8,000 this year. And, you know, for tourism, it's helping people, you know, get from Bremerton to Port Orchard back and forth for the events that happen. It's additional hours on Saturdays and Sundays, event weekends and holidays, and to kind of supplement everything that's going on in Port Orchard.
It's a really wonderful thing you guys are doing.
And
Tell you
then,
what, Labor Day weekend for the
Yeah.
Taste of Port Orchard. Oh my word! I loved it. I was just like, oh, why didn't I video that? Because you'd see it come over, and then all
Look at
these
those numbers.
people
That's-
got off.
I'm gonna shuffle her
And
deck. So
I
you're
would
fine.
say the majority came to the Taste of Port Orchard. You know, I mean, because I was watching every time it came over. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it was really,
It
the
was a
Taste of Port
lot of
Orchard was
people.
awesome.
Yeah,
It was really well
But you know, the
attended.
sad thing is, well, no, okay, I was gonna say there's 2 pages. We look at some of these, June 23rd. So I think it does stop between Memorial Day and to the end of
there,
this
there is a
June.
couple that were not.
16 people wrote it on an entire day. You know, if you look at this one here, I don't know what day this is. This is the July 1st, 25, which is sad. Because, you know, it means like on May 27th, the city subsidized, a lot. Let's just say, what is it, $200 an hour? Is that what the charge is?
I wonder if it's on. Oh, it's not on here. I
It's $200 an hour.
That, yeah.
And, you know, it ran for 2 hours and we collected $11.80. You know, we reimbursed, total box recovery on that was $11.80, and the city spent $400 to run it for those 2 hours.
But I think it's really looking at the overall numbers for the summer, because I know we've had discussions about keeping it consistent so that people can count on it. You know, and there are going to have ebbs and flows, and I think, I know it's not our decision to decide whether it runs or not, but you know, that's why I was so interested in the overall, because I think as we build confidence that it is going to happen, and I think it was every day for most of the summer, wasn't it?
I know it was Saturdays and Sundays. I think Saturdays was from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and then Saturdays,
Sundays.
or
And
sorry,
Sundays.
Sundays.
So
was,
it's pretty
yeah.
consistent Saturdays
Yeah.
and Sundays, and I think
Yeah.
it just takes time for people, I think, but if we, worried about, things, but the overall is what I would be really interested in.
Yeah.
But I think it's a wonderful service. I know it helps me a lot.
It's also an amenity that you could argue people find useful.
Oh,
if
I
they-
think so. I think it's huge.
Yeah, and there was a couple things that Bernie wanted me to bring up. Just so when negotiations started this year, the city of Bremerton and the city of Port Orchard, I guess it was mentioned that Kitsap Transit may be picking up some of the 2018 services, but it's dependent on the fast ferry, and so that's something that will be to be determined. And then the numbers are based on if the two entities are paying their full share, I think, for the 8,000. And then, so after the first of the year, we're gonna reach out to Kitsap Transit, the city of Bremerton, to see what the schedule's gonna be covered with Kitsap Transit. And right now, it's just too early, and of course, we'll also reach out to the Kitsap Harbor Tours for 2018 rates to see if there's any changes, any differences. But, and we can, I think we got this maybe a week or two ago, so I can update the spreadsheet, and maybe at the next lodging tax, I can have that ready for everybody. That way it's
If
all
when
in
you
that
get it, if
spreadsheet.
you could send it out.
I can
I'm not
definitely
sure
do
that
yeah.
we were retaining the revenue from Labor Day because I think Kitsap Transit was taking over that day. So technically, they got the revenue for Labor Day.
Figures.
Um,
There's
Okay.
1,500 people riding that sucker back in an
It was
hour.
one of those
That's good
things
strategy
like,
on
sure,
their
yeah,
part.
let them pay for it. It's like, well, yeah.
That's funny.
So it would be interesting to see how that.
It's very, very
Yeah.
worthwhile.
Now, did you have another one for Chimes and Lights? Because we did not have that in our packet.
No,
There is no.
there was none, no.
Oh,
Just for
Chimes
the,
and Lights.
just for the ferry services
Okay.
this year.
so we're done.
We are
Sweet.
done. Yeah.
Thank you. And the meeting is concluded at 8:34.
Hey.
Look at that, we're like right on.